Hey everyone, welcome again to the Honey Flow Show. We're just on Instagram. Had a little bit of technical difficulty with StreamYards, but we're going to keep it moving for the Honey Flow Talk Show. Again, we have a special guest. It's DJ Allier, all the way from San Francisco, the West Coast, the Bay Area. He definitely brings that West Coast flavor too every time I watch his show. He also does, a talk show too. So it's going to be interesting just talking to him about that. Thank you, DJ Lenny Danger, for sticking around too. I appreciate you. I saw you in the chat and thank you for those comments. I corrected a few things too. So we're going to bring him in because we are a little bit later, but I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you guys got any questions for DJ Allier, make sure you guys are putting questions in the chat too. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Again. So we finally got this worked out. So that's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks
absolutely.
thanks for sticking around. I appreciate that.
Yeah, big shout out Lenny Danger. He was here right from the IG. He's been here since, and I saw DJ Eaton was also lurking. So hopefully we get some more people in here.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Well, we have
Yeah,
a few hours to cover, so I think we'll be okay. I don't know if you could stick
absolutely.
around a little bit later, but it's up to you. I know because you've already stuck around. If
Yeah.
not, I will definitely have
Uh,
you on again.
that's a great question for my wife who's in the chat, Sauda28. We're getting on a half hour later, so you let me know, Sauda, if it's cool. Only thing is, with my daughter, like we got to pick her up from school and all that. But I
Okay, yeah, I
think we
get
should
that.
be okay for a little bit longer, but I
Okay,
want
no
her to
problem.
say.
Yeah, I totally get that. I understand
Yeah.
that. Sorry about that, you guys. Had some difficulties with StreamYards, but we're gonna keep this going too. Again, for all you guys that don't know, DJ Allier, all the way from San Francisco, does a DJ show, a music show. He was talking about opening up for different artists too, which we could probably get into now on Instagram. We were talking about that. So for all you guys
Yeah.
that missed it, we got DJ Eden in the building too. She says no
Philly in the building.
problem. So you're
Yeah.
smart. You're the first guy on Twitch that checks with his wifey. You're very
Oh,
smart,
yeah.
you know?
I'll tell you, I still get in trouble sometimes for not checking, but rule of thumb, you got to check with the wife, especially when the kids are little.
Yeah. And that's one
Got to
thing
check.
I love about you too. I'm gonna say that you seem like a real family guy. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's really awesome, and you have two kids, you mentioned, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have. I know you were on my show a while back, but since then we have a newborn who's turning 5 months on the 10th. So
Wow.
now I have we have two kids now.
So how are you able to, what are the ages? A newborn and you also have
My
another
daughter's
child?
3. She's gonna be 4 in January. So I guess you could say 3.5, but she's closer to 4 than 3.5.
Okay. Wow. That
Yeah.
must keep you guys so busy. And how do you balance everything like DJing, doing a talk show, doing the Mindset Mondays, which we're going to talk about too?
Yeah, it's interesting trying to balance. I think my wife actually has held it down for a long time. She just went back to work from maternity leave.
Hmm.
But she's done a great job balancing everything. I'm not even sure how she did it. I mean, in terms of everything I do as a streamer, and even I do the Mindset Mondays. I'm also a certified mindset coach, so
Hmm.
I have clients, and that's a whole different business that I have. And really, it's just family comes first, and it's of course you need to make money to survive. Especially when the kids are so little, though, it's you're only going to have that time for so long, and
Hmm.
so everything has to kind of go around the schedule with the kids. And then now that my wife is back to work, that's an actual 9 to 5 job, so my schedule has to go around her job as well. So um,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, we figure it out. I mean, we have discussions about things when I get invited to raid trains, when if a gig comes up, if a client comes up, if I have a call, if this, we have kind of a central calendar, like a Google calendar just for the family. We have our own calendars, and so it's a lot of meeting and arranging things.
Wow, that's awesome. And she seems very supportive, which is great. You usually
Yeah,
see one spouse on Twitch just not understanding Twitch at all from talking to so many DJs that I know, and they
right,
just don't get Twitch. They're not in that world, and then the other
right.
spouse is. So that's really good that you guys can kind of work together on those things.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, to be completely honest, my wife is not there's certain spouses who are like heavy on Twitch,
Hmm.
and she's not because our kids are so little. You know,
Yeah,
she's
it's a
holding
lot
it
of
down. The
work.
only way I can stream is if she's watching the kids, right? In that way, though, she is very supportive, even without 100% understanding it, because the people who are on Twitch understand the community
Yeah.
that exists there, and with her not understanding it, she still moves things around and tries to accommodate what I'm doing, just knowing that I'm doing it. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
I think in some ways that's even more because she doesn't even quite understand Twitch and still is like, okay, let's figure things out for you.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Props to
yeah,
you, girl. Seriously,
yeah,
that's a lot. Two young kids and going back to work full time.
yeah,
You're like a super mom for sure. So
absolutely,
props to
absolutely,
you
she is.
as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so we were just talking, you guys on Instagram for a couple minutes before we moved here. And
yeah,
you said that you worked with different artists, like pretty big artists, like sorry, yeah, Daddy Kane, or not Big Daddy Kane, Daddy Yankee, right?
Daddy
And a
Yankee,
few
yeah,
others. How
yeah.
did you get involved with that? You said that you did some promotions company as well?
Yeah, I used to work for a promotion company here in San Francisco. Anyway, I don't know who's in the chat right now, but anyone from San Francisco might remember Party SF. The owner might still be around hosting events here and there.
Hmm.
But I was almost kind of his right hand man kind of thing for about 7 years, and I was the entertainment director. So I used to hire DJs, and I used to sometimes book acts and different things like that. And so the way that happened is I was explaining kind of like that mid 2000s, like '04, '05. There was a big explosion of reggaeton, that kind of like first wave that happened, and the other guys on the team didn't really know about it. I was younger, and like the owner of the company, he was not Latino, so he didn't really know about it. But I had suggested you should bring this woman, Evie Queen. I don't know if you're familiar with Evie Queen,
No, actually, yeah.
but yeah, so she was kind of like the queen of reggaeton at that time,
Oh, cool.
and we brought her to a club in San Francisco called Sound Factory.
Hmm.
It doesn't exist anymore, but it used to. I think the main room held a couple thousand people, and it had like 4 rooms and stuff like that. It was a big club. So we brought her, and it was like this phenomenon. I mean, the
Hmm.
place was sold out, and no one really expected it because it hadn't quite hit yet. And then, oh, there's Uruguaya Latina. She knows about EB Queen for sure.
Hmm.
Welcome in, Uruguaya. Um, so yeah, I was the one who kind of convinced these guys to bring this, Evie Queen, and then from there, I guess some other big, I don't know if it was the manager or something for Don Omar heard about it and said, "Oh well, you guys are the guys we're looking for." So he came with this package of we have the Don Omar and I don't remember who, but there were a lot of the artists at the time. We can get them together. And Pitbull actually was kind of brand new. Pitbull, I don't know if Kulo was out yet or
Oh,
maybe it
really?
was out, but yeah, he was
Oh,
new, so he
cool.
was on that bill. And
Hmm.
yeah, so we had like a concert at a little bit bigger venue, and then some people heard about that and they say, "Oh, we got Daddy Yankee," and then Gasolina was blowing up, and so then it's a bigger venue, but for me, being associated helped a lot, and I was kind of the resident DJ for the company and stuff. So I got those opportunities to not to play with the artist, but play on the same stage. You're
Hmm.
at concerts and stuff, and these were like huge concerts. So
Yeah, that's huge. Were you
yeah,
ever nervous doing them at all?
absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was nervous. It I think nerves always come. In my experience, like playing for huge crowds, though, eventually you kind of get over it. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's only because I've done it a limited amount of times, but I mean, I used to at that time I was playing main rooms and clubs that were a couple thousand people, and
Wow,
maybe this was like say 10,000 people in the arena or something,
that's
but at a certain
insane.
point you don't see everyone anymore,
Yeah, you don't
so
see
it's kind of
anyone.
like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of like the nerves go away once
yeah.
you get started. But yeah, I mean, I think every time I got nervous for
Do you
sure.
ever feel nervous? Like, I'm going to ask you this actually. I'm curious. Like,
Yeah.
so when you get in a massive raid on Twitch or something
Mm,
happens, do you
yeah.
feel more nervous like being on Twitch getting raided compared to being in an arena or being in front of like a few thousand or 10,000 people DJing?
Wow. That's an interesting question. I never thought about that.
Hmm.
Um, I would say, yeah, maybe that is a little more nerve wracking because I mean it's the main difference between Twitch and playing live, right? It's like you can't see the reaction. So
Hmm.
it's like, people come in and say you get raided with 100 people. We all kind of lose people when we get raided, right? I mean, there's always that little drop off, but you never know what it is that you did, right?
For sure.
And so yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, wow, I got this massive amount of people, but you're flying blind. You're not seeing if people are feeling it or not. So
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Because I always wondered, why would I get nervous over a raid? Like, it just
yeah,
doesn't make sense to me. But when you're in front of like a few hundred people, 500, 1,000 people in real time, you're not
yeah,
nervous. And the only way I could think about it is because the camera is so magnified, maybe so
mm,
much closer to your
that's
face.
true
Like,
too.
it
Yeah,
feels like it's so much more intimate, I think, when you're on Twitch. But when you're in real time, it's like the audience is away from you. So if you're in a
yeah,
huge dome or arena, it just feels like they're just little, like you can't really see
yeah.
everyone, right? They're kind of,
Right,
there's
right.
distance. I don't know, maybe that's what it is. What do you guys think in the chat, DJs? Are you more
Yeah, it's a good
nervous
good
getting like a
question.
massive raid on Twitch, like from someone that you really admire or respect, or are
Yeah.
you more nervous doing a real-time gig in front of like 1,000 people? Let me know. We
Yeah.
got DJ Elegance in the building. DJ Lenny Danger was you only one that stuck around the whole time through the chat, chatting to himself and chatting to me
Yes.
too to let me know what I need to fix. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We got that boy Jur in the building. We got Latina in the building. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And of course, his wifey right here, Sarah.
Absolutely.
Is it Sarah?
Sauda. Sauda 28.
Sarah?
Sour
Sarah?
Sarah. No, how would you say it in English? Sauda. Sarah 28. That's probably the easiest way to say it. Sarah 28.
Okay. And what
Yeah.
is your, I mean, obviously your background, Spanish, but what country are you from?
My family is from Nicaragua in Central America.
Okay.
I was
Nice.
born in San Francisco, but yeah, both sides of my family are from Nicaragua.
Yeah. And is there a lot of people from Nicaragua in San Francisco? I know there's a lot of Spanish, a huge community out there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, in San Francisco, there is probably the majority of Latinos in San Francisco are Mexican,
Mexican? Yeah.
and I would say second would probably be Salvadorian, and Nicaraguense would maybe be somewhere there, like right at, after that. But in terms of outside of Nicaragua, probably the hugest community, or huge is a big word, right? But the
Hmm.
biggest communities outside of Nicaragua in the States would probably be in Miami,
Hmm.
and then San Francisco, and then like in Houston, there's a community of people from Nicaragua too. But those are
Okay.
those are probably the most central communities of people from Nicaragua outside of Nicaragua,
So
in
do
the
you
states at least.
Okay. So do you really like blend your culture with like do a lot of different cultural events out there that are from your culture? Like, or I'm assuming Spanish, a lot of Spanish events, because that's one thing I noticed about San Francisco. It was a lot of Mexican
Yeah,
people as well. I felt like everyone looked like my cousin out there. That's what I
yeah.
felt like. But do you really like incorporate your culture too when you're out DJing?
um, yes and no. I mean, yeah. I mean, I mix it. See, it's kind of that's an interesting question. I mean, culturally, ethnically I identify with being Nicaragüense, but we were talking about on Instagram, like hip hop is a culture too.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like culturally that's more incorporated into what I play in terms of hip hop, R&B, roots of hip hop, funk, old soul, this and that. I do play Latin music. I just interestingly enough, I never like when I was, doing clubs and stuff like that, I just never was that kind of go-to guy.
Hmm.
Except for in the times that I was talking about with the concerts when that reggaeton time. I was pretty well known for that, and then it kind of like as that faded away, it's like I play Latin music, but it's not. Yeah, I'm just I've never been one of the go-to DJs for something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess you also drop a lot of West Coast music too. I've heard that in
right.
some of your sets, which I love.
Yeah,
It's just like anytime you guys play it, I'm like, yeah, you guys are definitely from the Bay Area. Like it's something special I find when I listen
right.
to some of the DJs that are out there, out west, in the
Yeah,
West Coast.
yeah,
It's just a different vibe, which
right.
is great compared to the East Coast, right?
Right. Well,
So,
the interesting thing about that is, because even when you say like West Coast, like LA, even still now they put out a lot of great music, but there was a time with Death Row, with this and that, they were running things, right?
mhm.
And obviously hip hop comes from the East Coast, so there's always been that factor. And I feel like I don't know if it's like a second city syndrome kind of thing. Like San Francisco, I mean, it's an important city, but it's a small city. It's not LA. It's not, you don't have the movie industry and music industry and all that here. So it's for us, there's like a sense of pride that like in the 90s we had our rap scene that was local, and and then that slowly evolved into eventually everyone knows who Mac Dre is and everyone knows who E40 is and Too Short, and
Mhm.
and it's like to see where it is now. Not I don't know if you could play for Twitch, on Twitch for 4 hours for people from all over, and they'll like stuff from the Bay Area, but it does. I think there's a sense of pride with people who are from this area that is like, oh, you actually know our music now, because for the longest no one would except if you were from here.
Oh, that's interesting. How was
Yeah.
it too back in the 90s? I'm curious, with the whole Biggie Smalls and Tupac, not like you could speak for an entire country or city,
Right.
but I'm
Yeah.
always curious about that, like how it was for people in San Francisco. Did they actually listen to East Coast music back in the 90s when the huge rivalry and all this stuff, beef was created, like almost through the media? Like,
Yeah.
or were they like strictly like West Coast, you know?
That's interesting. I've never felt maybe more so in LA, because the local, like I said, Death Row and DJ Quick and all the, whoever the West
Hmm.
Coast artists, a lot of them were locally from LA.
Hmm.
I think maybe there the radio would sound more West Coast. Of course, the Bay Area probably sounds more West Coast than New York, because if you go to New York, they all, especially in those days, they only played New York artists, right? But
Hmm.
there was all, I don't know, here there was always a mix of that. Like we were aware of the Tupac Biggie. I mean, Tupac, his career started in Oakland, so we consider him like, Bay Area. And so of course we were aware of that, but a lot of my friends listened to Biggie, and that they played on the radio here, and all that stuff was, it wasn't like it was off limits here. I don't know.
Oh no, I remember him
No.
being at, I think I played his last interview. I believe it was his last interview or one of
Yeah.
his last in San Francisco,
Yeah,
like
that
when
was
he
his last
visited
one.
there. Yeah, that was the
Right.
last one. That
Yeah.
footage, and then I played Tupac as well back in the day on my radio show. It was really interesting to learn. Just,
Mm.
I kind of wonder what they would be like now. Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd be working together if they're both here, as well. So,
Yeah. You would
but
hope so, I mean,
mhm.
I don't think that would have lasted forever, and um yeah, it's a shame that got overblown to the point that it did, obviously, because we eventually lost both of them, and they
Exactly.
were
And you
both
think
great
they're
artists.
so young too, right? When you think about it, like
Yeah.
they're so young. They don't
Yeah.
look so young, but they were really young. So it's kind of
It's funny.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, when you say they don't look young, I guess it's because the way we looked at them when we were that, our age at the time.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's funny because I think about that, especially Tupac. Biggie is one of my favorite artists too. I will admit, because of the East Coast West Coast thing, uh, I was impressionable then. I was a teenager, but he had to grow on me a little bit.
Hmm.
But Tupac, yeah, I mean, I think back on songs he wrote. Um, Keep Your Head Up, or so. How old was he? He was like 23 when he wrote that
Yeah,
song. And it's like
crazy.
that's not where my head was at when I was 23. So
No, that's not
yeah,
really
it's
where my head was at either.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, it's very interesting. What about you guys in the chat room if you're from the West Coast? Like, what was the vibe like for you when that situation happened? I'm curious. Did you kind of cut off East Coast music, or were you still listening to like Biggie, and amongst everything that happened, were you still listening to those two artists? Let me know. Leave it in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about that. So you also do obviously a talk show, which is called Mindset Mondays, and you're
Right.
also a coach too that does a lot of motivation and changing your mindset. How did you get involved with that? Because doing a talk show is a lot of work too. Like a lot of people don't think that, but it really is truly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I want to give a shout out to DJ Vibe 78. He also represents Toronto,
Yes,
much
DJ
like Honey
Vibe.
Flow.
Oh, I
So
didn't know you were from Toronto. Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Um yeah, in terms of the talk show, it's funny. I had a lot of healing that was done with me because of different stuff that I had gone through, different traumas I went through, and um, I became certified as a coach. So I started, coaching people, and then because of COVID, which is we were talking about this on IG, how COVID
Mhm.
kind of reignited my DJ career because I was kind of feeling like, okay, age wise, maybe I'm towards the end here, and then
Hmm.
COVID happens, and then we discover Twitch and all this, and it started a whole other thing. Um, because of COVID, I also, with my coaching, I was able to get certified years ahead within like 1 year. I got certified in different things to the point where I can train other coaches. I can certify other coaches and stuff like that. So all of that happened within a year, and then at the end of 2020, I joined a boot camp with Kova and Amani Experience. They put together like a Twitch streaming boot camp, and they taught me some things there. And we were talking about what I had going on, and all my shows were all DJing. Um, and then they challenged me to do like a different kind of show. They were like, well, if, at that time my numbers weren't great, and I think my approach was wrong for the time. I think in 2020, a lot of the DJs who didn't really capitalize were like, they went on because they said, "Hey, let's have fun." We're locked in, and that's it, and didn't really treat it. You could tell the difference between the people who treated it like this is like a business, and
Hmm.
they approached it that way. I kind of felt like I was doing that, and in retrospect, I wasn't. And so they challenged me to try something different, and I always had an idea for like a podcast because I was certified in these different things and learned about the mind and learned about the subconscious and all that. But then I thought a show like that would be boring.
Hmm.
Like I can come on and talk about the mind, and then what am I going to do that every week? I felt like people would be bored by that. So and Twitch was a great example to me of like what I said. Some people were getting on just to have fun, and some
Hmm.
people killed it, right? And some
Yeah,
people started getting
100%.
sponsorships, and they started doing all these other events, and they used what was going on. They used it to their advantage, and it occurred to me that people have different mindsets. The
Hmm.
difference between the people who were hiding and saying, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever," and the people who were out there getting it, pandemic or lockups or whatever. It was their mindset. So it occurred to me like it would be cool to interview people and figure out what that is. What's that difference between the way some of us are thinking and these people who have had success to a certain degree, and so they challenged me at the end of 2020, and then February 2021, I started the Mindset Monday show.
Hmm. And what did you kind of discover from people's answers? Like, did you notice kind of common theme of how people felt, or what it was kind of like? Because I know you interviewed me too, and it got pretty deep on that show.
Yeah,
But I'm curious, and I notice you also pull out stories from people, which I love about you. Your
right.
show goes a little bit deeper, and
Yeah,
it's not so surface level either. And I
yeah,
appreciate that, watching your interviews too.
yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Hmm.
Um, what I discovered that so much of us can relate to each other, and it even taught me because I was raised in a family where things were very private. You don't share your stuff, you don't share any of our business. I realized like it's important to share your story because so many people can relate to it and so many people can learn from it, right? And I feel like the common theme with the people who are really winning are just having the approach that, things change all the time. We always have challenges, and to roll with it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I feel like oftentimes people, when they're falling apart, they don't realize that we get through these things, and these challenges are there to boost us. We once you get through it, there's a lesson learned there. And I guess maybe that's the main thing, is that as the challenges come, the people who are really winning is like they're taking the lesson from that challenge,
That's
as opposed
awesome.
to like living in the moment and saying, oh, this is the worst, as if it'll never change. And it always does. I mean, change is constant in our lives, right?
It's so true. I love that.
Yeah.
DJ Vibes as well. What area of Toronto are you from? I'm from Toronto as well, so I'm curious. We got Father Damien,
Father
another
Damien.
amazing, positive person as well. We got
Absolutely.
DJ Elegance. He's helped me out so much, so props to him as well. He said he was going to ask the same thing. What were the common things that people shared? So yeah, definitely. If you guys have questions for DJ Allier, make sure everyone adds him. Everyone catching the replay as well. Make sure you
Please.
guys add him. The link is scrolling in my chat. It's also scrolling in my chat. His link, DJ Allier. We got another heavy hitter couple from Toronto here, Kings and Queens, and good to see you
Yes,
guys
indeed.
as well. A lot of Toronto people. Wow. Usually don't have this many Toronto people in my room. So I appreciate you guys. So,
DJ Elegance, thank you for the follow on my channel. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
make sure you guys definitely add, DJ Allier as well. Great to see you guys too. Thanks for coming through.
Kings and
Um,
Queens,
yeah,
love to see
so,
you. Great to see
one
you.
thing I've also realized too, just exactly what you said, interviewing so many people, I realize it doesn't matter if you're a big streamer, if you're a DJ, if you're a cook, a crafter, a gamer, whatever it is you do, like the
Right.
more you pull out stories out of people, you actually see exactly what you're saying, a very common factor in what we're going through, right? And
Yeah.
everyone has a story, everyone has a struggle. It's not just the highlights we post on social media, right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'm realizing too, and especially about mental health. So I appreciate you talking about mental health because in this
Yeah.
time, in this day and age, like we've never seen a day and age. And I don't know if you guys are feeling it, but I'm really feeling it lately in the world, like globally, all the
Yeah.
changes that are happening. It is definitely getting tougher and tougher, I feel, but I
Yeah.
think sharing our stories helps others know that they're also not alone too. We all have something in our lives, right, that we're dealing
Yeah.
with. Um,
Absolutely.
but why was it important for you? Because I know you do touch on mental health. Like, why is that important to kind of talk about? And I think it's important to me because, especially for men, because you don't really hear it often. So it's really
Yeah.
great having the guys open up on my show about their stories and kind of going through that too. But why is it important to kind of touch base on that? Like for you, and you also, for all you guys that don't know, he got nominated for the Best Mental Health
Right.
Stream
Yeah.
nominee Twitch Award with the Amani Experience Twitch Awards. Best Mental Health, I believe Prodigy won, but the nomination is still huge because I heard
Yeah.
30,000 people voted. I don't know if you knew that on Twitch.
Oh, really? No,
Yeah,
I
that's what
didn't
I,
know
I
that.
think Amani mentioned that, which is huge. So
Yeah.
whether you win an
That's
award or
incredible.
not, it really doesn't matter. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's
um,
amazing. Actually, we got
so just people
nominated
that
2 years in a
recognize
row.
you.
And
Oh, awesome. Okay.
yeah, and I couldn't even fathom, because I'm not a huge streamer yet. I mean, we get people in, but to think that enough people would think of my show to nominate it, I'm like, wow, that's, yeah, it's definitely an honor for sure.
Hmm. And why do you think
Um,
it was kind of important to, oh, hey, I was going to say Disco Darren came in the building. How you doing,
let's
Disco
go,
Darren?
Darren.
So make
Yes.
sure you guys are all adding one another. So many great DJs, streamers in this room I'm seeing. If you're a streamer, you could throw up a one. If you're a mod, put a two in the room and just add one another. I think that would be the easiest way. But yeah, why did you kind of touch base on mental health as well?
Um, I think that mental health, I mean, it's such an important thing, and I see that, I don't know, I just saw that, so many people are, when we're talking about mindset, so many people are looking at things pessimistically, you know,
Hmm.
and when I say that it's a common theme with the people that I've had as guests, I just feel like it's a life lesson to things are going to happen, right? And uh, being able to talk about challenges that we have in our life and overcoming them is important because it's so easy to fall apart, you know, and it's so
Hmm.
easy for people on a platform like Twitch for us to not, or for, you know, viewers to not realize people are there to listen. You know, there you can find some people that are around to listen, and I feel like for a couple years being locked up in your home, it changed people's outlook about things, you know, and it made certain people look at things from such a dark angle. And I feel like it was important for people to see you're not the only one who goes through things. Like we all go through things, and there's a way to overcome. And you know, that's not to say that it's easy, right?
Hmm.
Um, but like, say for example, we were just on Instagram for a couple minutes. You said, "Hey, everyone, meet me at Twitch," and then there was a tech issue, and we didn't get on for half an hour. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people who would fall apart with that, you know, or
Hmm.
say, I'm let's not do the let's not do the interview, let's cancel it. You know what I mean? Like, and you can always look at things a certain way, and it's like I think it's important for other people to realize we're all the same. You know, we all have challenges. We all go through times that are not easy, and there are ways to overcome it. And it's not the easiest thing. It's, you know, just knowing that there's hope is not really the word that I like to use, but you know, there's a better day coming. Let's say, you know, um,
Exactly.
I think
So
it's important
true.
for people to get that message.
For sure.
A
Hey,
couple of my
Steph.
mods are in here. Steph One
Hey,
Love
Steph
and My
One
Shelly
Love.
one
Oh, it
four
says
three.
incoming. Oh, I just see here. Thank you guys for coming through.
DT
Uh,
Jams Live, Netflix. We got a lot of the family coming in here.
is it
Reggie
okay? I
Ward,
definitely need my glasses. Is it DJ Criticky? Oh my gosh, I definitely need my
DJ
glasses.
Critical.
I need my bifocals. I'm getting old, guys. DJ Critical. Oh my gosh. Wow, I matched up
Yes,
his
Tape
name.
Deck
Thank
Terrace.
you guys so much for the raid. I'm just like looking at another computer. I'm just seeing you guys come through. Oh my gosh, total.
Lockdown
I
in
did
here. Wow, a lot of
worse
the
than
fams coming through.
tweak music tips. Thanks for coming through. Steph One, thanks for letting us know. We got
Yes, indeed.
my Shelly in the building. Who else here? Father Damien, um, DT Jams Live. Thanks for coming through. Um, let's see here. You guys going to hear me mash up names? Is it Nflex?
That's Netflix.
This sounds like a license plate NFLX. Remove your Honda Civic from the dance floor,
Yeah.
please. We got our DJ Reggie Ward saw his show last night. It was a great show you did, Reggie
Yes,
Ward.
indeed.
And DJ Lenny Danger never gave up. He was the only one in the chat room waiting for
Still
us.
hanging out with us. Yeah.
We got Tape Deck Terrorist, DJ Eden. Oh, DJ Lockdown. Great to see you. Aw, thanks for coming through, guys. I appreciate it. And
Absolutely. Thank you
DJ
for all being here.
Critical. Actually, that's a cool way of writing your name, DJ Critical. I was like
Yes.
looking here. I'm like, what is this? DJ Crickets? Like, what is this?
DJ
DJ
Critical
Critical. I'm gonna have to
representing
check
New
you out.
Zealand.
So, oh,
Yes,
he
definitely
represents
check
New
him out.
Zealand. So you guys
Yeah.
are in the future. Like, what time is it there, DJ Critical, from New Zealand? Let us know. And again, if you guys don't know who I am, I go by DJ Honeyflow. I do a talk show, which we're doing right now. I'm interviewing with DJ Allier for the one person in the room that doesn't know him. He does a talk show too. We're talking about his Mindset Monday show and why it was kind of important to touch base on mental health, especially in these times. And
Mm.
I love that because I feel like there needs to be more people, in the trenches doing that because so many streamers or people that you see have it together, have 100,000 following, traveled the world. Some of them are also coming out and talking about mental health and just how much, they're struggling too on stages. So just because we see
Yeah.
what we see on social media or on Twitch
Yeah.
or as a streamer or in front of a crowd, I don't know if people realize too that sometimes there's a lot of highs and lows. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that from a stage where you're pumping so many energy out to people, right? like you're just pumping it out to people, and then when you go home, you're by yourself, or when you're done the wedding, it's basically you're the only one in the building, you know, like tearing down equipment, and then you have like maybe a 2 hour drive home. So I think it
Yeah.
sometimes can feel, I felt it actually a few times, especially doing weddings,
Mm.
but like this high and this low feeling. And it was hard to
Mm.
like kind of gradually bring that down because you
Yeah.
know how you're giving so much energy out to people. And then,
Yeah.
so I could kind of see how singers or celebrities or people like Prince and other people that kind of might have struggled, right? Like,
Yeah.
because when you're performing, it's so much energy that it's kind of hard
Right.
to bring that down. Have you ever like
Yeah.
experienced that too?
Honestly, I've never really experienced that what you're
Hmm.
describing. I usually feel like any kind of gig, even gigs that haven't gone as well as other gigs, I always feel on some kind of high
Hmm.
um, playing. Although, it's interesting that you asked me about the mental health aspect and talking to different people on my show. And like I said before Twitch, I was gonna throw in the towel. I was kind of like I'm aging out a little bit. I'm not, I won't DJ for that much longer probably. And I felt like I never really hit the highs that I wanted to.
Hmm.
And there was a little bit of, well, that's my own fault. I didn't go after it, etc. And I always wanted to kind of be a traveling DJ.
Hmm.
Go to different cities and rock. And I've talked to so many people that are like, it doesn't seem. It's exactly what you're saying. It's not the Instagram highlight reel.
Hmm.
A lot of people go and do these things that like I might dream of, and they're not really happy doing it. They might not be
Exactly.
playing the music they like. They might, everything looks like a party, and which towards the end of DJing, when I lost some hunger for it, it was like that. You act like you're partying, but you're really working, right? And people are traveling to different towns. It looks like a party, but they're just there and off to the next city or off home. It's just there in the hotel room, and you think that they're partying all night, and it's like not everything's what it's cracked out to be. And I think even though I've never experienced it for a gig,
Hmm.
doing the show made me realize, oh well, there are things even with us within our industry that it's like, oh, you might think it's a certain way. It's not really like that.
Exactly. And I think that's something that's really important to look at when we look at social media, or we look at those reels, or we look
Yeah.
at all the highlights, and you think someone lives that way, or they're having a life of the party, and then all of a sudden you
Right.
realize, okay, they're divorced, or like they're going, like it's
Right.
just so shocking, right?
Yeah.
So, or
Yeah.
different things happen. So I think it's really important to have these conversations, because I
Yeah.
think if we're actually real with each other, I think everyone has gone through that at some point.
Yeah.
You know, if you haven't, then bless your heart, you haven't gone through anything yet,
Yeah.
because it definitely does come. You know, just let life live, just live a little bit longer, and you'll start gaining
Yeah.
some experiences. Yeah.
I
So
think a lot of this ties in with mental health too.
yeah, it
When
does.
we talk about the social media, especially like with COVID, we found Twitch, but a lot of people are on social media nonstop and seeing those highlight reels and sometimes I don't know. I mean, I know you're spiritual. I don't know exactly your faith. I know Father Damien's in here. I'm Catholic. I know you told me you were
Mhm.
raised Catholic. I'm not sure where you're at currently, Honey Flow. But I feel like
Or I'm
a lot of that
Christian, and yeah.
gratitude. Christian, okay. Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
think you did tell me that before. Yeah.
Pretty much the same thing,
But
but I challenge Father Damien all the time. He's Catholic.
oh, do you really? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
um, but no, I feel like there's a lack of gratitude, and a lot of
Hmm.
times we don't see that because we're looking at things on social media and thinking that's what I want,
Hmm.
without really questioning, and maybe at some point you realize, well, that's not what I want. I'm content with these certain things in my life, and sometimes we're not looking at what we have because we're looking at what the next person has and thinking we want it because they make it look so attractive, and it's like, and I think that that's where a lot of people start reeling because I don't have what I want and these kind of things, and a lot of that I think is because of social media. That's it hasn't it's contributed to a lot of that for sure for us.
Yeah, it has. And life is it's great. Like Twitch is fun, it's great, it's a community, music and that. But sometimes even it's good to step away a little bit too, right? To just
Yeah,
because I know people are really like hustling to try to make partner or try to build
right,
something if they lost their job and they're actually making this as a business. It can become a lot, right? But it's
right,
always good to kind of ground yourself and step away from all these things and sometimes distractions because these are just
right,
temporary fixes that music, I mean, has probably saved all of our lives, right? Especially in the
right.
pandemic, but it's kind of a temporary fix. It's not really a permanent fix. So
Yeah,
it's good to kind of, step away a little bit too, or ignore all those numbers too, because in the end, like if you could help one person that's watching, then I think that's your success over having
right.
a million people in your chat room. But you have to, it's like
Yeah,
you said, it's a mindset too, because
yeah,
in this industry, we're always taught like your worth is, how you look, how many people you have in front of you on
right.
stage, what you're doing as a
Mm,
DJ,
yeah,
your worth is kind of very validated on superficial things in entertainment.
yeah.
So, how do you balance like that out too? Like, just because you give so much to other people and you're coaching as well, like, what kind of keeps you positive and grounded in this industry too?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know that I fully know that answer. I search frequently for where who is the person that I'm supposed to become,
Hmm.
and I make efforts to become whoever I think I'm supposed to become in that moment, and a lot of that is journaling and prayer and meditating and thinking and there's a lot of I am an introvert, so I value alone time a lot.
Hmm.
And which is interesting because I know my wife was in here earlier. She's probably lurking right now, but
Hmm.
that's
Props to your
another thing
wifey,
that's
man. I love that.
yeah, no, I
Yeah,
mean with the kids and everything, she allows me to have a
that's
little
amazing.
time that will rejuvenate me. And
Hmm.
yeah, I mean I think that it's a lot of that, putting things into perspective, because it's I mean, I coach people, I tell people all the time, all my clients, I'm not perfect.
Hmm.
I have tools to help you along, and we can talk and I can look at it from an outside perspective and I can coach you. I'm not perfect though. So, I get caught up in it too. I still look at social media and,
Hmm.
and
We
I
all
have
do. We
to
all do.
take the time to stop and say, well, this is not, this is not real, or this, or, I'm happy with other things that are going on in my life. So I mean, it is something that's a challenge daily to be dealing with that, to be, I approach Twitch as I want to give value to the viewer.
Hmm.
Whether that's in DJing or on the talk show, I want the viewer to get value out of it. And of course, you watch other people and say, well, how come I don't have numbers like that? How
Hmm.
come
Hmm.
and also there has to be some self reflection. Maybe I don't have those numbers because I'm not doing what that person's doing. Also, right?
Hmm.
It's real easy for us to say, well, I'm better than that. My show is better. But then it's like, you don't know what they're doing in the background. Just like Instagram, the glamorous stuff is not all real. That's maybe not all that person's doing either. There might be a lot of work in the background behind what they do that you don't realize too. So I think that's all part of it. Is taking the time to step back and really realizing what's real. I think that's in our digital world that can be a challenge.
It can be a
Um,
huge challenge for sure. I know some
yeah,
people have taped that number up, and I mean, I've I've been guilty of falling in that trap too when you're
yeah,
trying to do this full time and you're trying to work and grind and you're trying and you're like, "Oh,
right,
it's just not working the way I want it to." It's like maybe people and then you start getting in your head, maybe people are just not interested in maybe your personality or your show or what you
right,
have to bring, right? But I
yeah,
think
yeah,
the more I talk to different streamers that are honest about it, they've had the same thoughts. So I think it's kind of regrouping. Okay, what is your main purpose? Like, what is your purpose? And
right,
even people that have huge followings, they're now starting to ask, like, yeah, I've traveled the world. Yeah, I've worked with all these celebrities and stuff, but now I'm questioning what my purpose and what my legacy is. And at the end of
Mm,
the day, I think that should be your main importance. Like, what are you planning on leaving? Because none of us are guaranteed. And I know this may sound kind of deep for people, but like
mm,
none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. Like not one of
right.
us in this room is.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I think about that a lot, it kind of changes my mind, thinking, oh, okay, maybe I should look at more deeper things or things that have meaning or have more of a purpose,
Right.
than
Yeah.
all this. Then, because really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You're really not going to take your following with you, not
Right.
even your
Right.
friends or your family. So
Yeah.
I think you got to think about what do you want to leave behind that
Yeah.
is impact and what can we do? Because there's so many issues and problems in this world that we can
Yeah.
tackle. So I love the fact that you are doing like Mindset Mondays and you're a coach as well to try to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disco
Absolutely.
Darren says exactly. You can get hung up on the number game. Just do your show, be you, and the right people will gravitate and come.
Right.
Exactly. You'll
Right.
eventually
Yeah.
gain your tribe. And if it doesn't happen online, I mean, if you're helping one person that literally wanted to commit suicide or just was just having a really bad day and things are falling apart and you're able to help them, then that one person measures far greater in value than 1,000 people in your room.
Right. Yeah.
So, but sometimes you got to take time away to really reflect and see those important things, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So we got 61, sorry, chocolate in the building as well. I'm just looking here at some of your comments. I think she
Also
or
fun.
this person had a great question too. Um, yeah, and they say, yeah, it's tough too. Let's see here. I'm just trying to scroll up because I saw. So, 61 Chocolate said, my parents reached 67 years. Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
I might have to interview your parents, 61 Chocolate. Like, how in the world do
Yeah.
you make it up to 61 years and 67 years in
Right.
this day and age? I might have to
Yeah.
interview them and connect with you. We got Christine from Facebook in the building. This is also going to YouTube, guys, so welcome.
Love
YouTube,
it.
Facebook, you won't see all the comments, but if you come to Twitch, look up DJ Honeyflow, you'll see all the comments here in the chat.
Mm.
Disco Darren had a great comment. He said, since the pandemic, the divorce rate has gone up 50% and domestic violence is all the way up in high in all communities. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because I don't think people are so used to spending this much time with each other, right?
Right.
So
Right.
can I ask too? I know I'm going to shift this a little, but we're definitely going to get to like a lot more of your accolades. But I wanted to ask you, like, how long you've actually been married for, and what advice do you guys? What do you give to people when you see a comment like this? Like, I know it's a process, but that must have been a huge adjustment having two young kids DJing,
Yeah.
and trying to keep like family and everything together. Like, what are some ideas that you can, I guess, say to this comment to help that?
So, how long I've been married? On November 17th, just last month, it was my 10-year anniversary
Oh, amazing. Congrats,
being
you
married.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife, we actually dated. We weren't like boyfriend and girlfriend forever. We knew each other 11. We were dating since we met, but it wasn't always a commitment kind of thing. But we knew each other for like 11 years before I proposed. So we've
Hmm.
known each other a long time. We didn't live together or anything like that before we got married. So that was a whole new adventure. Getting married, moving in, all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. Thank you, Lockdown. I appreciate that, bro. And for anyone, because I know Lockdown has been married. I know a lot of people have been married, and I like DT Jams, a lot of communication and
Hmm.
patience. One thing that, because I'm a certified coach, I'm not a therapist. My wife is
Hmm.
actually a she is an MFT, a marriage and family therapist, a licensed MFT, right? So
Hmm.
she is a therapist, and she works with kids, and she's worked with kids of all different ages and stuff like that. Um, Luckily, I was able to lean on her early in our marriage, even though
Hmm.
we had known each other over 10 years. living together is a different ball game, and being
Hmm.
married and all that kind of stuff, it's a different ball game. I had to lean on her to learn a little more about communication.
Hmm.
So I was lucky in that sense, and I still work on my communication all the time because a lot of that is upbringing. Like
Hmm.
I don't know that my dad was the best communicator. It's something that you have to learn. But it's almost like love languages too. It's
Hmm.
something you have to learn about your partner. It's not just learning to be this great communicator. What is the best way to communicate with your partner?
Hmm.
And it's funny because it's a lot of like what we're talking, going back to what the guests would say, and things can be tough. You have these times that are not easy, and you have challenges, and you figure out how to work through them or look at it from a different angle and all that. It's the same thing with marriage. A lot of times
Hmm.
it's easier to say no. I don't want to fault people like the divorce rate going up, right? I'm not going to say it's the easy way out for everyone. But some people probably did take the easy way out, right? Because
Hmm.
it's easier to just say, okay, I can't deal with this, than to actually work on it, And
To
I know
make it
sometimes
work.
people,
Yeah.
they put in an effort to make it work and it doesn't, because maybe it just wasn't the right fit, or you guys turned into different people as you grew or whatever. Um, it takes effort though. It's not. The funny thing is, like, with the pandemic, my wife ended up working at home. She did a lot of her client calls on WhatsApp and stuff like that. And we never felt like that. It was funny. We would hear all these people, they're getting divorced, people are breaking up, this and that. They can't
Hmm.
stand being in the same house together. And we're like, we love it.
Aw,
And with that being said, it's not like we don't argue, or we don't,
for
of course we
sure.
don't see eye to eye and this and that. It's just there's a certain way, and it's not always perfect. I
Hmm.
sometimes still walk out the room when I shouldn't, or we still have these reactions that we shouldn't, and we're working on it constantly. I think that that's the key, though, is when you have two people that are willing to work on it, and keep working until you get it right, and keep learning every day how to communicate with each other. I think that's the important thing, because that's not easy. It's
Hmm.
definitely not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, and grass is not always greener on the other side, guys. Like singles, I could
Very, very
tell,
true.
want to be in relationships, want to get married. I see two sides. I see both sides, right? And then
Right.
I see from like some of my married friends or maybe friends been in relationships for a while, they're just like frustrated with each other, like just like, get me out of here a little bit. So it's kind of interesting seeing both sides. They're
Yeah.
thinking your life is so much better or maybe greater, I don't know. And
Yeah.
yet you're looking at them thinking, oh, well, at least you have someone. What are you complaining about?
Right.
So it's kind of interesting how it is. But I like what you said. It is about communication, and that's some great IL-2 advice, you guys. Just, and it
Anyone
really is
hanging out
true.
in aisle two?
Yeah, exactly. And if you guys don't know what IL-2 is, I always talk about finding love in your grocery store, IL-2, or restoring the love if it's complicated, you want to kill your partner, anything like that. It's also
Yeah.
just IL-2 is always about love.
Right.
But Father Damien did break it down when I interviewed him too about the three different kinds of love. Agape love,
Mm,
I believe he said we should all be striving for, which is not the
mm,
superficial love based even on the five love languages, which he
right.
gave me a different perspective on that because I'm a
Mm,
firm believer in the five love languages. But he
right.
basically said that's actually based more on a feeling. But agape love is like learning to love like your neighbor, your spouse, like learning
Right.
to just love people authentically and genuinely.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing to do. Even loving your
Right.
enemies, it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but he gave me a great perspective on breaking down the three kinds of love. So I know Bolita, is it?
La bolita.
Oh, La
Can I
Bolita?
just comment on the one thing you said about the love?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, agape love is the act of the will, Father Damien says. There was a comment here by Lockdown, which he said, easy way out after 17 years, or was it? Which
Hmm.
goes to the point. There's a lot of people who are together, and it could be a long time, and maybe you grow apart. There's different reasons why,
Hmm.
things don't work out with people. And it's interesting. I just wanted to say about that because when my wife and I got married, our priest told us that when you get married, it's not two people getting married, it's six people getting married.
6 people.
Because yeah, it's the person that you guys are now. It's
Hmm.
the people that you were in the past, and it's the people that you are going to be in the future.
Oh, wow. That's
And all
interesting.
of us, yeah, and it's an interesting thought. Luckily, we had that lesson before getting married, right? But it brings into perspective that things are not always what they are now.
Hmm.
And at the time that you're getting married, no one gets married with the plan to get divorced or that intention or anything like that, right?
Hmm.
But life changes people, and it's yeah, my wife's saying best words I've heard.
Yeah, it's so
um,
true.
it's a challenging thing to look at it that way, right? But
Hmm.
it just um, it solidifies what that commitment is, and I think that going into it, you have to understand that, like, it's gonna be an effort to make things work. It's not, because the two people that you are now, the lovebirds that are getting married, planning a wedding, and all that, that eventually changes, and
Hmm.
are you willing to accept this person as things change,
And it's
um,
technically 20 people if you marry a woman because we have a million thoughts. We have 1,000 thoughts. We don't like how you breathe sometimes, how you sit, how you drink. Like it gets very confusing for a man that's probably introverted and laid back. He's like, "What did I do? What did I do wrong?" So I always
I'm
say, at
glad you
least
said that. I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad the lady
I'll
here
I'll
said it
say it. I'll
'cause-
say it because let's keep it real, ladies. Sometimes we could have a tall order and a tall list and get very irritated like very quickly and want and I guess men aren't mind readers, like we think they are. Like we think they should just know, right? But I
yeah.
always tell the men, I always say, "Hey, make sure you guys just know these key words and you'll thank me later." Like just I'm sorry and I understand. If you know those 4 words, you don't try to fix the problem. You just say that when she's, had a bad day at work or she's going through everything. And you're just like, I understand, babe, or I'm sorry. That's all you guys need to know.
Yeah.
Don't say anything else. And I promise you, it's going to work. And come back to
Yeah.
me and inbox me when it works for you. But we're going to go back to, DJ Jonah is like, not always true. Well, you're probably saying it the wrong way or with the wrong tone, Jonah. We'll talk off record and see if my advice works. It does work.
A lot
I'm
of great
telling you.
comments in the chat. I love this.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight all these comments running through the chat, but
Yeah.
I wanted to get back to La Bolita's question. Hopefully, I said that a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a great question she had. She says, when being grateful, do you feel like people are judging you for your success? That's an interesting question.
Hmm.
Because I think
When
we were
you're
talking about
grateful.
gratitude. You know how we were talking about gratitude a little
Yeah.
while ago? And I
Yeah.
think that's when this question came up when being grateful, like I guess, grateful in life. Do you feel like other people are judging you for your success? That's an interesting question.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly the question. It almost kind of sounds like there's some sense of guilt of being successful. I'm not sure if that's what La Bolita means by that. Um,
Maybe
I don't
clarify
know.
for us. Clarify if you can put it kind of expand a little bit on that question. And we could definitely get back to that too, as well. DJ
Disco Darren
Jonah,
saying,
you're going to
fellas,
get
don't
in
believe it.
trouble. Your wifey or whoever you're with is not in this room right now. He just said some women are breed for war. So you're going to get in trouble, I'm telling you. You better be careful. Your wifey isn't in this room right now. We got Max the DJ here as well. Good to see you guys. And again, make sure you
Hermano.
guys follow DJ Allier. His link is running through the chat and also through my stream elements. And feel free to add me as well. That's the only way you kind of see our shows on Twitch. If you follow DJ Honeyflow, DJ Allier as well, feel free to if you guys are reviving
Yeah.
the conversation. Let's see, Disco Darren. I got my own handbook, Disco Darren. He says, fellas, don't believe that. Players violation, page 23, section 46, paragraph 23. Don't listen to him. Disco Darren is not a woman. Trust me. You want to take advice from a woman and take advice from Allier, you know,
Yes, take both.
like, of course, too. That's the only way. Why would you take advice? He's got a player handbook. Why would you take advice from him? You should be taking advice from a woman. Disco Darren's going to get you in trouble. He's going to get you kicked out of your home, and you're not going to
Yeah.
have dinner that tonight.
It depends. Yeah, it depends what you want out of it. I mean, the player's handbook is good, if you have different aspirations. Now, I don't know about for marriage if the player's handbook is going to help us out.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Although I do see 61 Chocolate says men can be difficult, page 0.
Hey, I
I
like
don't know
that.
which handbook that's
61
in, but
chocolate.
which it's actually pretty interesting because I think that that's the common theme between uh, men and women. It's when you say yes, tone and volume. I've had to learn that.
She
Sada
says
28 has
tone
taught
and
me that
volume
as
is
well.
everything. I agree. Because they always say it's like 90% body language, even when you're in an
Yeah, oh
interview
yeah,
or when you're connecting with someone, it's
right,
nonverbal and it's usually the
right.
tone and the volume. So if you have to grind your teeth, DJ Jonah, and be like, I understand, it'll work for you. He's asking for a money back guarantee. He's not convinced. Yeah. I'm just reading some of these comments
What
here.
did Lockdown say here? I can't take advice from another woman. You will get in trouble. Wait, you will get in trouble, y'all. Don't do it.
No, you won't. Why would you take it from a man? It's like me taking advice from my single girlfriends about dating. Like, how's that going to work for me? So now I'm taking advice from men and they're telling me the opposite of what you should do instead of and my single girlfriends tell me the opposite advice, right? So now I'm actually learning from all you guys. I'm learning from a lot of men with
I like
advice.
Tape Deck Terrorist says, "We are easy. Food, beer, and video games. Bam, problem solved." What I was gonna point out is I think that that's the biggest issue between men and women
Hmm.
is that we both think that the other communicates the way we do,
Yes. Yeah.
and so we don't really take the time because, I mean, I'm not gonna. We don't necessarily want to go down this road. Unless, I know Father Damien's here and everything. So,
Oh
but
no, we can
that's
go
why
down.
there's so
Father
many.
Damien
No,
here's a
I
lot.
think that that's why there's so many men who are like perverted in
Hmm.
girls' DMs and stuff like that because
Hmm.
men would love if a woman communicated with them like that, and it's like
Hmm.
women don't like that though, bro. Like you there has to be an understanding, and I think like when you said men are not mind readers, it's like women think they're giving off these subtle things that men should pick up on, and it's like
Yeah, because we just
we're not
assume
built
that
that
they should
way.
know.
Yeah,
We
yeah. So
assume
it's
that this is pretty
yeah,
obvious. Like,
right,
if we smack something down on the table, we just assume that you should have done the laundry, you should have did this, you should have done that.
yeah,
You should
yeah,
understand that, they need like your wife needs affection, like needs everything all at once, right? And
right,
so I think that's where the frustration lies because we just think
yeah,
it's kind of common sense, but I
yeah,
think guys are like, what the heck? Like, what did I just do? I'm just watching the game. Like, my mind is
yeah.
blank. I'm
Exactly.
not thinking anything.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, Tape Deck Terrace says, nothing is ever right for a woman. Let's see. I'm just trying to read some of these comments or scroll up here. You guys are funny. Wow.
yeah. I am
Uh,
loving this chat. I didn't expect it to go this way,
I
but this
know
is
this is
great.
going a different way actually. Then I need to
Yeah.
get back on focused again on it. So yeah, so that's awesome that again, you're doing the mindset Mondays talk show. So make sure you guys check him out every Monday for his mindset talk show. What time is it again? I think it's a bit later on
So
the
yeah, we
Pacific time.
actually in December we started it at a later time. So we're on at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Just because my wife went back to work, so we had to move it a little bit later, at least for this month, and then we'll see in the new year if we can move it back to our old time. But we're doing some cool things on the show. Like this past Monday, we actually featured a couple DJs, and I'm doing that once a month now,
Hmm.
where they'll do little short sets, 30, 40-minute sets, and then I'll interview them. It's not going to be the in-depth 2 hour one-on-one interview, but I
Hmm.
interview each of the DJs for 20, 30 minutes, and people can get to know them and stuff like that. And then I've also started doing some panel stuff, like some roundtable talking about a topic kind of thing, and and those have been going well. And then of course, we're still doing the one-on-one interviews as well. So
Yeah, for sure. That's
yeah,
awesome. And then
yeah.
have you ever done like DJing full time or coaching? Has it ever been full time for you?
Coaching, it has not gotten there yet, just
Hmm.
because the me getting certified coincided with me getting right. I had a lot of healing that I had to do, and then there comes a point where it's like, this is so awesome for me, I want to share it with people. So I got certified with that later in my life. I am working towards the coaching being like a bigger gig for me.
Hmm.
Although I have had clients and have clients and all that, and but I'm working my way up with that. DJing, I actually did DJ full time. I made a living DJing probably for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Did you feel like it was really up and down? Because you can keep getting crazy bookings and then, the next moment it could be a little bit drier or slower. Like it's very much like this, you know?
Um, yes and no. Honestly, most of my career was as a club DJ.
Hmm.
So and then I would get the mobiles, wedding season come, like right now, even right now I'm getting contacted for some holiday parties. I'm not really I'm not really out there pushing for it right now, but I'm getting some calls. So it's like that would always come, the corporate holiday parties and all that. But as far as the club, I mean the clubs go up and down, of course. Like in the wintertime, not as many people go out, but I would still get booked, if I was a regular, every Friday or every, third Friday of the month, second Friday I was here, that sort of thing. So that actually stayed steady for me for a while.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
classify yourself like lean more to club DJ? Because I'm really learning the more I interview DJs, it's not just, we're not boxed in one. I know DJs are like, look, you can't DJ.
Yeah.
You're not a turntablist. You don't know how to do this, right?
Yeah.
And these are the
Right.
basics. If you do this, then you're a DJ. But really, I feel like I'm learning that there's different classes of DJing. Like there's turntablist DJs, there's wedding
Yeah.
corporate DJs, there's
Yeah.
ones that enter in scratch battles. Like there's a whole mix. And, you can't really compare a club DJ to a wedding DJ because they do things entirely
Right.
different or a corporate
Yeah.
DJ. So is there one that you kind of lean towards or not really? Because it sounds like you've pretty much done everything.
Yeah. I mean, I was, for most of my career, I was a club DJ.
Hmm.
I was really after my, I probably should have aimed higher, I guess, but I aimed for doing clubs that were open in San Francisco at the time that held a couple thousand people in the room, and I aimed for doing mix show, and I did both of those things, right? Mix show on a regular basis, I never did in San Francisco. I did it in other little smaller markets around the Bay Area.
Hmm.
And around Northern California. And this was the early days where I used to email an MP3 with my mix. Now it's like, I guess almost all the radio mix shows are like that now, but this was kind of early days. Uh, but yeah, I felt like I hit that, and that's what what I aspired to do. And then now as I've gotten older, I mean, I could still go try to rock a club. I just feel like I don't know how up on music I am, So I
Hmm.
still do a lot of gigs, but it's more like bars. It's I approach it the same way, but it's kind of a smaller venue. But
But
yeah, I mean,
bars are
for
very
my
demanding too. Like you got to mix
yeah,
quickly, you got to be on point, you got to,
right,
ensure everyone's happy at all times. I'd actually rather not do bars or clubs or, like when they want to
yeah,
turn it into too much of that, I'm fine with
yeah,
background music. I'm fine,
yeah,
corporate people in their suits eating cheese and crackers and wine,
yeah, right.
and it's very
It
simple. And at the end of the day, you're
yeah,
getting paid very, very well. I'm fine with that. You
that's
want me to
true.
be a
That's true.
jukebox while you eat your cheese and crackers? I'm
Yeah,
okay with that
yeah.
at this point. Yeah.
It is great. I would say that for me, I'm able to do clubs because I do like I've done I don't know, over 100 weddings in my life, right? Um, the way that weddings happen a lot, and I guess this is when you ask about the full time DJing,
Hmm.
there was these other little things that happened that kept me busy, even though I was doing a lot of the clubs. But I hooked up with a guy who had a company doing weddings, And I thought I can do anything, because I had done private events before, right?
Hmm.
But I really learned how to do weddings from this guy who had done a lot of weddings, right? And for me, my musical knowledge spans from over a lot of decades, just because the difference in ages from my dad to my mom, and I have a brother that's 15 years older than me, and so I was exposed to a lot of different music my whole life, right? So doing weddings and stuff came naturally to me, being
Hmm.
able to play top 40 for the last 50 years, whatever, whatever stuff people might want to hear. And that combined with being a club DJ is what has made me, given me the ability to play like in a bar.
Hmm.
Because, in San Francisco, like throughout my life, I've played like at bars at Pier 39 where it's a bunch of tourists or whatever, and people want to hear all kinds of different things, and then it's like I can mix quick, I can mix, I can actually mix like club style, and but I have all this huge I have a huge collection of music to pick from, and so it's like I think that that's why it's kind of a natural fit for me now that I'm older. It's like, yeah, I can play a bar, and I play music from any era.
Would you have anything on your bucket list to do? Like, say if you had no holds bar in terms of like DJing, what would be on your bucket list that comes to mind to do?
In terms of DJing, I still want to play like the main room in like a huge club in Vegas, like at
Hmm.
Tao or somewhere. I would love to
Oh,
play the
that's
main room.
cool.
Yeah, and because I've never, I mean, my dad lives in Vegas now, but I've never really pursued that. And Vegas is so close to the Bay Area. Um, Vegas got infiltrated with a lot of Bay Area DJs, like going back 20 years, right? But I just never really, like I said, I mean, I wanted to be a traveling DJ, but I never really pursued it to get to that point. So I would love to do that, and I would love to. There's certain markets I would love to DJ in. Just even for a night, I would love to play in New York and play in Miami, and I don't know if I would want that to be a lifestyle, especially having kids now. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's different.
if enough money is coming in, I'm sure my wife would would deal with it. I
That'd
just
be a lot
now
to
that I
deal with.
actually have kids,
Yeah.
because having kids in theory is one thing, but now that I have them and they're growing up, it's like I kind of want to, not kind of, I want to watch them grow up.
Hmm.
Um, so missing all the weekends always, and I think that's why I'm not pursuing even locally, doing clubs and doing that stuff as much anymore. I still do gigs, but it's not. Um, the kids just change the ball game. It's like, yeah, I mean, if I can be home on the weekend, I'd like to be.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're going back to La Bolita's question here. It
Oh,
says,
okay.
do you feel like people wish they were in your shoes? Like, are you afraid that someone is giving you a reason to quit? Hmm. That's an interesting
Hmm.
question.
Giving you a
I think that's
reason
a
to
hard
quit.
question to answer. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like in terms of the do I feel like people wish they were in my shoes? I don't know. I don't know that I focus on that so much. And I think that a lot of that comes from healing, you know,
Hmm.
when you have traumas, because I think a lot of times we get caught up so much in what other people think. And even like what we were talking about on Twitch, you're looking at other people's numbers and what are they
Hmm.
doing, and it's like
Hmm.
what someone else is doing has nothing to do with you, right? You have to run your own race.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
when you're looking side to side, you're not looking ahead, and so it's like one of those things where it's like, um, it's almost, I don't know if it's a harsh way to say it, but I feel like that's a waste of time to think about what another person's thinking about me. Like, do they want to be in my shoes, or do they not like what I'm doing, or I don't know, that sort of thing. It's like that's really something I can't help. I can only control what I do.
But that can happen
So
to any of us because when you're on a stage and you're in front of a crowd, I don't know if it's ever messed with you. It's messed with me before. If you're in front of
mm,
500 people and everyone's loving it, everyone's like, oh, you're doing such a great job and you're on a high,
yeah,
like you're feeling good, everyone's
right,
vibing and you'll get that one person, that one heckler that comes up to you and is demanding a
yeah,
song and gets mad. And then it feels like slow motion for you, like that angry face where they're like,
yeah,
ah, like coming at you from the D. That's what it looks like to a DJ, guys. It's like,
Yeah.
"Ah." Okay, don't clip me, guys, right now, and they're like, oh. And to a DJ, it's like, whoa, because right now we
Yeah.
have so much in our brain that we're trying to mix music, we're trying to think of the next song, we're trying to ensure the crowd's having a good time. Don't clip that, DJ Lenny Danger. Do not clip that. But that's how it looks like, where it's like, "Rah," like it's slow motion, and it could be a
Yeah.
guy or a girl, I don't know, but there's always that one person, and it can mess with you. It could
Yeah.
really, for me, I think there's been some nights where I felt like I did a good job, but then you went from like a 10 and dropped down to a 2 instantly because of that one person. So how do
Right.
you
Yeah, that's
like
true.
how does that not uh, you know, I don't know if it's ever affected any DJs in the room. You guys could let me know if it's ever affected you, or are you just in such a good mindset where you're like I don't care about people pleasing. I'm just going to do my job and I'm good. Like, have you ever been there with anyone or a heckler or anyone?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that naturally, I would be surprised if any DJs in here said that, that's never happened. Um, whether it's a heckler, I mean, that could be any number of things that cause that, right?
Yeah,
We'll have to check out that
I'm
clip. That
listening.
might have to go on Instagram
Yeah,
after.
don't clip it. Don't clip it.
But
Yeah.
no, yeah, I mean that could be any number of things. Sometimes, equipment messes up. Isn't that the worst? Like when the sound just cuts off and then everyone looks at you.
Oh, everyone blames you.
It's like
I remember
it's not
one,
me.
yeah. Have you ever had anything like that happen? I remember being at a Halloween party. It was like a college party years ago in my 20s. And I'm
Yeah,
on stage, and we kept telling people you cannot come on stage. And there was like 100 people that jumped on the stage, and I can feel the stage go like this. Like I could feel myself bouncing and my equipment, like the table shaking. And I'm like, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be
yeah,
good. And I'm freaking out. My heart is like racing. And I'm like, what am I
yeah,
going to do? I'm by myself here. I don't know how to fix this. And all of a sudden, like the power outage, I don't know if someone stepped on a cord or if there's just too
yeah,
many people on the stage with the audio, but everything shut down. And then
yeah,
everyone looks at me and everyone starts booing. Everyone's booing at me in the room. And I'm just like,
yeah,
you idiots, you're the one who did it. It wasn't me, it
yeah.
was you.
Exactly.
you know? But the DJ does get blamed. Like even at a wedding, I've had
Oh
wedding
yeah,
planners leave and they've left me with the job. They're just like, oh, it seems like you know what you're doing for a wedding. We're going to leave. We have another wedding to get paid for that we're doing. They literally left. So then everyone came to me,
yeah,
caterers, photographers,
yeah,
videographers, speeches, like everyone came up to me for everything. So DJs are
yeah.
not. So all I say to you guys is don't cheap out on a DJ because the
Yes,
music and the food are the two main necessities for any event that you do. And
yeah,
if you say it's too expensive, you clearly don't know what it involves, lugging heavy equipment, all the hours a DJ standing and what we
yeah.
do.
Right,
So
right.
definitely
And
respect the DJ. But what's
that's
your
spoken like someone who has done
opinion?
weddings because
Oh,
I tell people all the time, they want to cheap out on the DJ, or sometimes it's like we could just play a Spotify playlist, and they think it's that. Um, Especially for a wedding, in some cases, I mean, if it's an excellent wedding DJ, in some cases they might not even need a wedding planner. The wedding is all facilitated by the DJ. The whole
oh,
timeline, the whole, like
it
you
is
said, speeches,
everything.
catering, the announcements, the
PowerPoint.
this, that, the other,
Yeah,
all,
like
the
everything.
introduction, the first dance, all of that is the DJ. So it's like if you're looking at it like it's just a jukebox there, it's like no. I mean, the wedding planner can go around telling all the vendors all this stuff. Really, the DJ controls all of that
I
for
almost
for an
think it
event
might
like
not be
that.
a bad idea to get into wedding planning or be like an
Hmm.
officiate. I know some DJs that have become I thought a pastor could
Oh
only be
wow.
an officiate. I didn't know. But I know one DJ
Yeah.
that does that and she makes a killing. Like she just gives a 15-minute speech, about
Yeah.
getting married. Okay, you guys, bride and groom, kiss the bride, yada, yada, yada,
Yeah.
boom. And then she gets paid like, I don't know if it's $1,000, 2,000, like they get paid
Wow.
quite well. So I'm like,
Wow.
maybe guys, instead of Twitch, maybe we all need to go in that direction. We got to all
Can
do
we
that.
officiate weddings over Twitch? Maybe that's the next frontier. We're gonna officiate and
Yeah,
play
no
music for a
divorces
wedding
on
over Twitch.
Twitch. I hope to see some Twitch weddings. I said that if I see a Twitch wedding, I will wear a purple dress with like a purple Twitch logo on it. If if I see couples together, like
Yeah.
that have met on Twitch, I would definitely do that. DJ Critical
Oh, that's
says,
cool.
I've been told I'm aw. He says, I've been told I'm the worst DJ in the world once a month at least, or at or the last 20 years. That is hilarious. I thank you, DJ
That's
Critical,
hilarious.
again for the raid. You guys, make sure you guys add
Yes.
DJ Critical. But I love that comment because it's, I don't know, it's really cute and it's honest. Like, I like that it shows that you have a lot of experience if you've been DJing for 20 years. Clearly, you know what you're doing, you know. But I like that someone with that much experience actually says that, you know, because
Yeah.
most DJs with your experience are like, oh, whatever, like I got this in the bag, and they're usually critical on other beginner
Yeah.
DJs, but everyone has a
Right.
start. So I really appreciate that comment, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Um,
And for anyone who hasn't heard Critical, he's dope. He's like super dope. So that right there just shows you know, I mean, anyone who would tell him that once a month, it's like, yeah, I mean, we always encounter those things, right? Those hecklers.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is definitely, I'm trying to give him, do a shout out. Hopefully I spelled, okay, I think that worked.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if
yeah.
you guys see
That
the
special
shout
shout
out
out or
in the room, yes, I finally got it working. Make sure you guys add DJ Critical. I love how you spell your name. I like how it's a different kind of way of, you know, um, spelling it, I guess. Let's see
I see the
here.
shout out.
Oh, so Disco Darren. Yeah, so make sure everyone adds him, guys, in the room. Thank you again for the raid and for coming through, bringing your tribe. I
Yes.
appreciate that. I can't wait to check
Thank you all
you
for
out. I
being
don't
here.
think I've seen you or checked you out. I don't think so. I'm gonna have to see. So Disco Darren says it's never happened. I guess it's an older crowd. Yeah, these kids are horrible. Yeah, that's why I don't really like doing a lot of really young events. Do you do many young events? Like you could probably do it. You could get away with it, but I don't like doing 16-year-old parties or 20s, people in their 20s. It's because they want
Yeah.
all the current, you know, we were like that too in the 90s. We knew our
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
So, but I don't want to play like Dab Baby or whatever their names are now, Lil Wheezy, Little Woozy, Lil
Yeah.
Baby, Little Boozy. Like every rapper now has the word Lil in the
Yeah.
beginning of their name. I can't deal with it. It's too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I started in the 21 and over scene, which I don't know in Canada, do you have to be 21 to get into clubs or to drink alcohol
18,
or
18.
18?
But
Oh,
we're
okay. So,
sneaking in when we were like 13, 15 years old,
oh,
like in
okay.
clubs. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a distinction here. Like there's 18 and over, but there's no alcohol. Like when you're
Hmm.
18, you're an adult, so you can go to a club, but there's no alcohol. And then 21 and over is where they serve alcohol. So bars and clubs with alcohol are 21 and over. So I started doing the 21 and over scene when I was 21, right? And that worked out for me because I was very in tune with the music. Although I don't even understand how people keep up with music now. Now I'm sounding like a real old DJ, right? But
Yeah.
it used to be the radio and
Hmm.
videos and maybe your favorite artist, you'd go to the record store and pick up some, there was ways to find out what was hot. Now it's like a million different ways that people release music. So much music comes out, people have their own YouTube with videos, they have it's like, I'm like, how do you figure out, is radio even a factor anymore? I don't even know how to determine what's hot and what's not. But
Hmm.
my point being, in my early 20s, I was DJing in the club, so I was great for that because I was my age, and I was really in tune with the music. Now I'm kind of, that's why I don't want to do big clubs anymore. I should maybe go visit them to see what they're playing, because if they're playing stuff that I could play,
But the
that's
thing
cool.
that
And
makes
one
more
thing,
sense instead of clubs is doing corporate and weddings because it pays like
yeah,
triple the amount.
absolutely,
So why are you going to hustle
yeah,
do a club? You know,
that's
your
true,
wife, you have
that's true,
kids at home working, like it's a
yeah,
lot. And then you could just do like a corporate, get 800, $1,000, like
true,
actually out here, I don't know what it's like in San Francisco, the prices, but I called up like 10 DJ companies top on Google, and for
yeah,
like 2 hours, 2 hours of DJing, guys, downtown Toronto, they start at $1,000. They wouldn't budge. And I'm talking, this is background music
wow,
for a corporate event. I was shocked. I was like, my prices are
wow.
way lower than that. No wonder why everyone wants to book me. So then I started raising them, not as high. I mean, I guess I could. And it boils down to mindset and confidence too, like you were
Yeah,
talking about. because sometimes you're like, that may be too high. But if you Google all these
Yeah.
companies, like they would not move on the $1,000. And that was
Yeah.
starting. And that was just 2 hours of playing. I was absolutely shocked. So right now, I
Wow.
think coming out of the pandemic, people really want DJing is actually really big. If you go, you just got to be smart about looking for real time gigs, right? And getting out there.
Yeah.
But
Right.
wedding corporate, I mean, that's where the money is, and you're I think you get more value, and people that pay higher in any business, whatever you're in, if people pay higher, they respect you. But if you do like a little club or something little small, like a gym, I've done all those things too. I
Hmm.
don't feel like they
Right.
respect your value as much, They give you a little, a
Yeah.
few $100, like,
Right. Right.
and they make you work, overwork, right? So, what
True.
are your thoughts about that? You got you DJs in the room. What's some advice that you can say for would you guys prefer weddings or more clubs, corporate? Like what do you guys think? Um,
I personally love that you just said that because I think that you just changed my mindset
mhm,
a little bit. It's an obvious. Um, I feel like the club thing you don't unless you get really big, like if you're the man or the woman in your area, right? Then you
mhm,
can demand high amounts of money. The club thing, you don't really get that much. You just get more notoriety. You become more famous, and I think maybe
mhm.
that's what I was just thinking as you said that. I'm like, yeah, why don't I do more weddings and more? Even though I'm getting called for them now, it's like, yeah, I should do that stuff. I saw DT Jams saying he says Twitch weddings and corporate events, but he said something there about middle schools. That when you asked about younger events, that's the one thing that I was going to say is the middle schools. They're really up on the new music,
Mhm.
and old music to them is like 5 years old, so everything has to be like really new, and they don't typically dance for even the first verse. They jump on the dance floor and then they leave immediately, right? And so I feel like you have to really be up on your music for young, like really young kids like that. So
Mhm.
I would shy away from something like that now because I don't know, I don't know that I want to do anything like that
That's
now.
true. I was gonna say, who looks like Denzel Washington? Let me know. Who in the room looks like Denzel Washington? I gotta Google after. I just saw that
Yeah.
comment. Let's see. So yeah, the comment you said, I just did to our middle school dance last Friday. 360 screaming kids was a blast. I don't know. I could do it once in a while. Like, have you done schools? I've done a few schools, but to be honest with you,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm turning out to be my mom, but I feel a little guilty playing like some of the stuff, even if you edit it out. Like I just
Hmm.
don't feel right in my spirit or my soul playing like Cardi B for all these screeching. And I mean, I did all that
Yeah.
for Flying
Right.
Squirrel and for other places I DJ'd at. But like all
Yeah.
these little kids, when you listen to the lyrical content, it's
Yeah.
really not good for like a 5-year-old to be like singing and screaming and dancing to. That
Yeah.
I'm
No,
starting
I
to
agree
feel
with
like,
that.
oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore,
Yeah.
because the kids want the worst dirty versions. They want the worst
Yeah.
edit. Even if you clean out the whole thing. I remember I spent
Yeah.
4 hours cleaning out an entire thing for a condo party, and all these kids were yelling over the music, like cursing and doing just this crazy stuff, like
Right.
all the dirty versions. It didn't matter if it was cleaned out, like they're
Yeah.
singing it all. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we were all like that when we were back in the 90s, but
Yeah.
how do you feel about that too? I do listen to lyrics, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel a
it's
bit
funny
weird.
that you say it because I actually used to have I used to do Fridays. I used to have a show that was uh, so like my community is called the Hella Happy Family
Okay.
because hella we say hella a lot in the Bay Area. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of that sparked because one of my first shows that was regular, which I don't do anymore, was on Fridays. It was called the Hella Happy Hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, or actually, was the Hella Happy Hour, right? So, um, it was a happy hour time, like 5 p.m. Pacific or whatever, 6 p.m. Pacific, and I would play for 3-4 hours, like happy hour style or whatever. There was a part of that show that I used to call the what was it called? The inappropriate half hour.
Hmm.
And the point of that was that I used to play like the dirtiest songs
Oh, really?
that I used to listen to when I was 10 years old. But the
Oh,
joke
wow.
of it
That's hilarious.
was,
10 years old.
why was I listening to this at 10 years old? And it was like super duper explicit, but it was the joke of it in that
Hmm.
part of the show, because it's like, this is not made for a kid, and this is the stuff I listened to as a kid, right?
But it doesn't
Um,
sound that explicit much anymore compared to what's out there. Like when I listen, unless if you're listening to like, yeah,
no,
NWA,
some of it was very
Snoop,
explicit. Some of it was
NWA,
very
Snoop.
explicit.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
like
way worse
NWA,
now.
Ghetto Boys, some
Yeah,
of them
you're
were
right.
really, really
NWA was
raw.
pretty bad. Yeah.
But I actually stopped doing that because as a coach too, I wasn't sure, is this good for my brand? And that's among adults. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just it is stuff that I look back nostalgically at, because it's music I listened to as a kid, but I listen to it now and I'm like, this was not made for children. I was listening to it behind my parents' back and all that, but I'm like, this is not for children. So I do have that feeling now,
Yeah, I struggle with
if I
it a
were to
bit.
do a middle school and stuff like that. And now that I have kids, even though they're way too little, they'll
Hmm.
eventually be that age, and it's like, yeah, I don't know that I want to play this for kids. Adults is one thing; you're an adult, but
I
I
just think
I
about
don't
it
really feel
more.
great about that for
Yeah, I
kids.
kind of think about it more. Seeing all these screeching kids like singing
Yeah,
this crazy stuff. I'm like, I don't
yeah,
feel right doing this. I don't know. But maybe that,
right.
yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I go through that as a DJ. I don't know if you guys
Yeah, no,
understand. I'm just
I
running
feel
into my
well.
mom every day. My mom threw my cassette
No,
tapes
honestly,
over
like
a
me
third
being a
gig
coach,
balcony.
I feel like
Yeah,
I
coach,
feel like that
exactly.
stuff affects us subconsciously,
It does affect
because so
us.
much of the stuff that we listened to as kids,
Yes.
it was inappropriate, but we didn't know what it meant.
That,
But
yeah.
that message is there in your subconscious, and so it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know that I want to contribute to that for kids. It's just,
So that's
yeah,
why I
no,
don't
I
mind it.
totally
Like,
feel you on it.
yeah, I'd rather do grown folk events. I think Disco Darren mentioned earlier that he
Right.
plays for just 35 and up, and
Yeah,
I would prefer that myself too, but sometimes you just got to go where you can get bookings, right? And try different things.
that's true too.
Or but
Yeah.
there's a lot of creative things like car shows, fashion shows. I think
Hmm.
on my bucket list would probably be an arena or a stadium, even if it's emceeing. That would
Yeah.
be amazing, like a sports
Yeah.
event. Do you ever see some of the other DJs there, like Mo One? I know I interviewed him a couple weeks ago. Do you see any of those DJs in the Bay Area? Because there's quite a few of them
Oh
out
yeah.
there.
Well,
Beats for Hope, I believe,
and
is out there.
who? Oh, Beats for Hope. Yeah, I know Beats
Mm.
for Hope. Monica is in the Bay Area. Alex Mejia, he's a legend in the Bay Area, but I think he's based in LA now. But
Mm-hmm.
I've met both of them.
Oh,
Mo One
cool.
and Juice I actually knew before Twitch.
Oh,
Like, we knew
really?
each other from the
Oh.
club scene. Yeah,
So does it
I've
become
known them
very
for a long time.
small? Like, does it come small in San Francisco? Is there tons of DJs out there?
No, there's tons. I mean, Juice and Mo One are examples of guys I knew from the club scene, but there's so many people in the Bay Area that I know them because of Twitch now. It's yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, and I knew a lot of DJs, but it's ridiculous how many. But San Francisco and the Bay Area was always kind of treated. I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but it was treated as a mecca for DJs, because we had a lot of like the Invisible Scratch Pickles. I don't know if you know Qbert, Mixmaster Mike, Apollo,
Mm.
Shortcut. A lot of
Oh
these
yeah,
world
Shortcut.
champion
Yes.
DJs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all from the Bay Area. So
Hmm.
like there's a documentary called Scratch. I don't know if you've ever seen
Oh,
it.
I gotta check that
Um,
out.
yeah, you should check it out. A lot of it is based in the Bay Area. It was like that was especially in the 90s and stuff, that was like we had that scene here. And of course, like we talked about earlier, hip hop is from New York, and from everyone has their scenes, and there's always in LA they had a lot of rappers like backpack rappers in LA that they had their scene, or that I don't know if there's a documentary about that, but there should be. But oh, Jay Jonah knows about it. Yeah, Scratch is, if you check it out, you'll see that it's DJing is almost part of the culture of the Bay Area in some
Oh,
way.
that's
There's like in
cool.
San Francisco, there's so many transplants now. There's not everyone is from here.
Hmm.
But yeah, it going back. It's always kind of been a part of the culture here. So there's like tons of DJs from here.
Is it pretty competitive, or do you find people work together out there, or is it more individualistic, like more? doggy dog. Like it's definitely more doggy
Yeah,
dog out here.
definitely
Yeah.
competitive. I think the first my first experience of having that camaraderie with DJs was getting on Twitch.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Really? That's
yeah, I would say
interesting.
so.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know I felt that too when they chop you up. I'm like, oh my gosh, these DJs are in
yeah,
my room. I'd rather just normal people when I first started. Yeah, because they would definitely, analyze everything. But I also realized that, and I've come to realize, and most people have, I'm sure, on Twitch, is there's also different shows too. There's some DJs that are more
right,
radio DJs or put it on
right.
more as a TV show, right?
Yeah,
With their graphics and what they do. Some talk the whole entire time and others just play the music, right? So there's definitely different shows, I think, too. And hopefully more DJs on here are kind of learning, the distinction. You can't really box all DJs in based
yeah,
on your skill level and compare it to just that
yeah.
because there's just so many different shows that do different things now, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
yeah, so I'm just looking here as well.
If
So if
I
you
could
guys,
just take one moment to point
yeah,
out about Honey Flow and when she was talking about dog eat dog and people competing and all that, I do want to give Honey Flow props because she just admitted that she's one of those people who will call your company and get a quote from you and then never book you. And you're like, what happened with that? And it's a competitor finding out your prices. She just
yeah,
admitted
of
she's
course.
practicing it. No, it's part of business,
No, I
right?
do. And you know what else I did that was pretty horrible, guys, is I went to Groupon. I went to a wedding show because all the DJs out here are like, forget about doing a wedding show. It's like 4 or 5 thousand dollars. It's very expensive. You're never going to get really bookings from there. So
Right.
I dragged my friend, like, we're both single. We're not getting, well, we haven't gotten engaged yet. But the reason why I'm saying that is because we pretended that we were getting married. So we kind of, Father Damien, plug your ears, because yeah, I did kind of lie, which I probably shouldn't have. But we walked in there and we pretended that we were engaged and we were getting married so she could help me scout out the DJs and the prices of
Mm,
all of them. So it was
yeah.
hilarious because this DJ just assumed like I was getting married to my friend, my girlfriend, that's like, I don't know, she's blonde. And it was kind of annoying. I'm like, why would you assume that about me? Like,
Right.
I just didn't like his assumption, I guess. But
Right.
she's like blonde, tall, like 6 feet. I'm 5 foot nothing. Like we couldn't be more opposite. So I looked at him. I go, really? You really think me and her are a couple? Like we're like salt and pepper. Like it was just funny, right? But he just kept insisting. He didn't believe us. And I'm like, we're
Yeah.
not getting married together. We're getting married like but then I would trap her because they would ask her more questions at the booth. So I said,
Yeah.
yeah, when are you going to buy the house with him? Or what else are you going to do? And she's a teacher, so she was quick on her feet and she knew what I
That's
was
funny.
doing. She's like, you're a hot
Yeah.
mess. Like, stop bugging me. But we ended up
Yeah.
finding out the pricing, and there was mostly, of course, male DJs there. And the reason why I
Mm,
bring it up is because it was kind of an advantage. It could be an advantage for me going into a wedding show, being one of the only female DJs that has a booth and being able to
sure.
relate to the brides like a little bit differently, right? Connecting
Yeah.
with them.
Right. Right.
So I don't know, I found out their prices. I was like, wow, you're getting paid like 2,500 or $2,000. Like, that's a
Yeah.
lot for a wedding.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're
Yeah.
charging out there, but some of these DJ companies charge a lot and they're not budging. So I would
Yeah.
say
Absolutely.
if you guys can, like whatever city you're in, always Google the top 20 DJ companies on
Mm,
Google, find out their pricing and know your worth. Even if people say you're too expensive, like raise your
yeah.
worth. Because I
Yeah.
promise you, after this pandemic, like, I mean, if you lower it more than the big DJ companies, right? You lower it a bit more, you're gonna get that amount, like you will. And if people
Yeah.
rebuttal you and say, oh, you're too expensive, just say, hey, if you want to Google the top 20 DJ companies, they're all charging this, so know the prices. Oh wow, that's a lot. Okay, I don't get that much. I need to talk to you. DT Jams Live,
250 an hour for DT.
$250 an hour. That's
I don't know if
crazy.
he's still here, but I did want to say good night to Father Damien because I know he was headed out.
All
So
right.
happy he was in here to watch.
Yeah, thank you, Father Damien, for coming through. DJ Knowledge is another grand turntablist DJ.
Welcome in, DJ
And
Knowledge.
he's saying he's got 200. How in the world are you getting $250 an hour? I need to roll with you. But it is
Let
good
me
to
ask you
know.
this: 250 USD. How much is that in Canadian money?
Oh my gosh, that's close to probably $400, probably more
Oh,
actually, because our dollar's so
nice.
bad.
Yeah.
So our dollar is not, I think our dollar is like 65 cents to your dollar, 60 cents. It's
Oh,
really bad. Yeah.
wow.
So, I mean, the average rate would probably be like maybe 75 to $100 an hour out here, I would say, um,
Oh, wow.
for DJing. But it depends what you do, right? If
But
you're doing
that's
a
like a
store.
club. You can get that DJ in a club, no?
No, you can. But I mean, it depends
Yeah.
if you're doing a store or if you're doing weddings. Like weddings can start
Oh,
anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 or more out here, right?
yeah.
Depending at how you want to. How are weddings out there? How much would they be around, would you
I mean,
say?
I'm in San Francisco, so San Francisco is probably one of the most expensive markets in the United States,
Hmm.
up there with like New York or wherever. So I mean, yeah, it's not uncommon to. Of course, it depends on how extravagant a
Hmm.
wedding and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's like starting at 1,500, 2,000 to for like a basic wedding. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
people will
Eh,
definitely, because there's a lot of competition. Toronto is a large city. It has a million DJs. So you're always going
Right.
to find DJs that will just do it for nothing, which doesn't help
Yeah.
us when you're trying to
Right.
work out pricing because they're just
Yeah.
like, well, the guy down the street will just give me this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean the undercutting always happens, especially for weddings though. I think that you have to sell the experience.
mhm.
Or just, um going back to kind of the mindset that we're talking about, right? Not every customer is for you, right? I mean, if it is a person who's only looking at the dollar amount, it's like, is that a customer that I want? Is that a client I want?
Mhm.
Because
But they
it
usually
might be a
do.
more of a pain in the neck because they're
Yeah.
they're just looking at price. They don't value anything else. So
Exactly. Or
yeah,
you could start it really low, like a base, and then just have add-ons, like have a sheet that has all these
right,
add-ons. Okay, if you want games, emceeing, lighting, like I've seen other
right,
DJs do that. But I've also
yeah,
snooped, like, and investigated and hid behind the bushes to find out what other DJs are doing,
yeah,
especially at the wedding
yeah.
show. That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's a good idea. It's a good idea. I know Critical earlier said that's what did he say? That's retail 101, which it makes a lot of sense. You have to see what the other guys are doing.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just have to disguise my voice after the show now, now that you called me out. So, yeah, just joking.
People were like, "Isn't that the girl from that YouTube video who was calling around?"
I know, but it was fun. It was actually a lot of fun just going to the wedding show and just pretending and walking around and trying not to get caught. And they would ask us more questions. So we would have to
Right.
think quickly on the spot. Okay, what are we going to say? Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was pretty funny and it was interesting to
Yeah.
learn, right? Have you ever done
Yeah.
like a show like that, a wedding show or
I
anything?
haven't. I've considered it. I mean, way before COVID or anything like that. I've gotten called by like the Knot, the magazine, the Knot. I don't know if
Hmm.
you're familiar with that magazine,
No.
and there's another magazine too. They sometimes call me or email me like, "Hey, we're looking for people in your area," or "This is, we have good prices on whatever booths for this wedding show or whatever." I've considered it. I've never done it because
Yeah.
it's one of those things which really is foolish, and again, going back to mindset, right? It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't think I'm ready. I don't have brochures. I don't have what do I show people? um it's better to just do it at least one time to learn, though, right? Like, I
Exactly. And
should
you're
do it
never
and then
ready.
know, okay, next time I should do this or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
and sometimes people wait until they're ready, but really you're never ready, right? Even with Twitch, look how
That's
much we've
exactly right.
learned. And how long have you been on Twitch for? Has it been 2 years or a year?
Well, I started, let me see. So my first official stream on Twitch was in June 2020. But probably like mid to late July 2020 is when I actually really started. Like, I think the June might have been my only stream for the longest. I did like a tribute to Tupac on his birthday,
Oh, nice.
and
Okay.
then yeah, and then July I started. So it's been around July 2020 since I've been on. So it's been a little over 2 years, like maybe 2.5 years, close to.
Hmm. And do you
Yeah.
have like any Twitch goals too? Like, is you wanting to grow or make partner, any of those things, important?
Yeah. I do want to make partner. I mean, the only reason I want to make partner really is just for more emotes. Um, in terms of my growth, though, I want to get to that level.
Hmm.
That's the next step for me to get to the level where I can unlock the partner application. Um, because I feel like I want to add value to people, whether it's DJing, whether it's doing the talk show. That's even why I'm featuring other DJs. And there's ideas I have that if I work on my schedule, maybe I'll do more days just to do different stuff. I feel like it's a cool platform, and I would like to grow it to the point where I know to unlock, you're supposed to have 75 viewers per hour, but they say for DJs it's more than that or whatever. I'd like to organically get to the point where it's like there's a bunch of people who come and watch my shows because they're part of the community. So that's really a goal for me, is to, even if the partner application, I know a lot of people, they get rejected and all that. The goal for me is to get the community there to where it makes sense for me to apply and all that
Yeah, for
stuff.
sure. Vader Mix,
Yeah.
just to encourage you, got rejected 7 times. I had no idea.
Really?
I was so shocked to hear that,
Yeah.
and he was telling me he like eliminated like profanity and different things because he
Mm.
felt and his mods felt like they were watching that. But I also had
Yeah.
Kev G in
Interesting.
my room and he's like, well, no, because that never happened with me and we never eliminated that. So no one really
Mm.
knows the magic formula with partner, but yeah, I think the key
Yeah.
is just building your own community, right? And
Yeah.
the people that enjoy watching your show, I think first, and hopefully that'll come. But it has taken
Yeah.
people quite a lot of time. I was surprised by 7 times. I've never heard that before because Vader Mix always has. He's got like hundreds of people in his room, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I actually recently had a Amani experience. So probably like 2, 3 weeks ago, I had him on,
mhm.
and he was rejected a lot of times too. I didn't realize
Yeah, I didn't
he was,
realize.
and there was a point where his numbers dropped, so he couldn't apply anymore. And it was like about 8 months from when he
Oh,
first unlocked
wow.
the application to when
Jeez.
he applied and became partner. And I was like, it to me, I mean, from the outside, it looked like it just happened. I had no idea that he went through all that.
Yeah,
But
that's why it's good
um,
for us to have
yeah,
conversations like this because, if
right,
everyone's just like, oh, yeah, I got it in the bag, it's just like,
yeah,
okay. It just doesn't make
yeah,
people feel good that have tried 7 times at it, right? But I
yeah.
know lots of people. I know Jay Online, I think it was 5 times for him. Ray Domingo, I
Oh
can't
wow,
remember if it was a few times. I can't remember. Just so many DJs have talked about, how it's taken more than a couple times. Do you have any suggestions for Twitch, like just in terms of what they could kind of do better? Because affiliate seems like quite a leap to partner, right?
yeah. No, that's true. That's true. Although and we talk about this. Or I've mentioned it a few times because early on in Twitch, and even still, I go to YouTube University and learn my stuff. Even we were trying to figure out the IG and StreamYard thing, and there's always these things that I'm trying to figure out, right? But it's interesting when you see people talk about Twitch, like on YouTube. Twitch is primarily for gamers, and there's people who have videos on Twitch about how to become an affiliate. You know, and there's talk of like how many people actually stream on Twitch and never become an affiliate, or they become affiliates but then they quit because they never earn $100 to for Twitch to pay them. That sort of thing. So it is interesting how with COVID and everything, how much the DJs actually figured out Twitch. It's because I feel like affiliate is almost like we take that for granted. Like, oh yeah, everyone can get affiliated, and there's people on the platform for years that don't get that. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is
Um,
really interesting. I actually was told by another person I interviewed, they said there's actually only 50,000 partners out of the 10 million streamers on Twitch. And I'm like,
oh wow,
I wonder where they got that stat from. Like, I'm not sure
yeah,
because I don't know, but that's something that they did
yeah,
say that there's only 50,000. So
yeah.
Yeah, I found that interesting. I was like, wow,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know.
ideally, Twitch, if we could have everything we want, there's one thing that I would improve about Twitch is I would allow people to follow more than 2,000 people. Um, because you get capped at how many people you can follow, which is
Mhm.
kind of weird.
But do you
Um,
do the follow I don't really do that at all, the follow
I
for
don't.
follow thing, because I kind
I
of think
really
when
don't.
you do it, it's like, what's the point in having a high number if people really don't come to your show? Like, does it make sense?
Right.
And does it make
Yeah.
sense to follow like as much as you like, people that don't stream, they're like, well, I
Right.
followed you, so follow me back. But what's the
Yeah.
point in following someone that doesn't do a show? Because the
Right.
point in following because when you guys follow someone, you can actually see when their show is live. But if you're
Right.
not following them, it's like they disappear in the algorithms. You'll never really see them. So for
Right.
me, it makes more sense following people that actually have shows, than people
Yeah.
that don't. But I don't know,
Yeah.
like if how do what do you think about that? I don't know.
I feel the same way, but
Mhm.
that's exactly the point. Is that I don't feel like follow for follow. Yeah, I think it's useless, right? I mean, I'd rather have 1,000 followers and have 900 of them come to my show than, whatever. I have 2,500 right now, and I
Mhm.
average, 30 or whatever. It's like I'd rather have more followers who are actually going to come to the show. I don't Having 10,000 followers means nothing to me, right?
Mhm.
However, if I have a big community and I follow 10,000 people, maybe there's more than 2,000 streamers that I want to follow. So I don't quite understand why that's capped. What
Hmm.
for because of there might be streamers who don't come on that much, or I just never catch them, and then when what if I jump on Twitch sometime and it's like I don't know they're live because I can't follow them,
Maybe
because I
they
run into
cap
that
it.
into that a lot.
Yeah, I wonder
I'm
if they
sorry, say
cap
that again.
it. I wonder if they cap it
They
because
cap it at 2,000. Yeah.
yeah, I wonder if they do that to not to eliminate very fast growth. Like for example, when we were doing the hosting, like hosting still made a difference because if
Right.
you looked at your analytics, you went to a few hundred people a month extra based on hosting. Even though I know a
Right.
lot of DJs don't think hosting counted, but eliminating it, I kind of feel like it makes it harder, like for DJs to, because the algorithms, whatever they're changing, I think they
Yeah.
want to, I don't know. This is just a theory, but I think maybe they want to focus more on the Amazon music, the huge music festivals versus like the
Right.
powerhouse music people that are coming here, right? They want to focus
Right.
not so much on the little DJs that are building their following very, very fast. And then I think
Yeah.
Twitch loses money too. If you get up to 10,000 people, you're kind of losing that 50% that Twitch could be making. But
Mm.
this is all theory. I don't know. I've
Right.
thought about it
Right.
because I'm like, why
Yeah.
would they eliminate the hosting? It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I will say, as we're talking about it, even if you capped it at 2,000, maybe this is available and I don't know how to do it, so someone help me out, like you can whisper me or something. I would love to see easily who I follow, because I know you can. There's a screen that shows you everyone you're following, but it's not really easy to go in there and see is there like mods or people who don't stream that I could follow and unfollow them quickly. I wish that I
Mm.
could do that. If someone knows how to do that, let me know. But I feel like Twitch would be a lot better because then I could deal with maybe the 2,000 cap. If because maybe there's people that I follow who left the platform or don't stream or whatever.
Hmm.
The one thing that I think would make Twitch better, and this is a huge overhaul kind of thing, but um, I know you're streaming to YouTube. YouTube is great because it's like the number two search engine in the world, right behind Google, and which
Hmm.
is funny because Google owns YouTube. But
Oh, really? I didn't
Twi-
know
if
that.
Twi- yeah, Google owns YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they have Google, and then they have YouTube, which is why if you go to Google and Google something, a lot of times in your searches, YouTube videos will pop up at the top.
Hmm.
But Google obviously is a search engine, but YouTube is the same way. You go there and you search for what you're looking for, what video you're looking for, or whatever, and it'll show you
Hmm.
stuff or related stuff or whatever. If Twitch could be like that, it'd be a lot easier for discoverability, I think, because you
Yeah,
could
I find
find.
YouTube very hard for for people to discover you. Like I don't even
Really?
know. Yeah, like I don't see like I sometimes get zero views on everything and I'm just like, do I have it shut
Hmm.
off? Like it doesn't make sense, right? But then I
Oh,
notice on TikTok, I left that app 2 years ago and
yeah.
it's like I'm already past 1,000 people, which is insane because I haven't been
Hmm.
active for 2 years. So I don't know if a lot of Twitchers just
Wow.
added me there, but that's perfect because you
Yeah.
could start streaming on TikTok if you have 1,000
Right.
people, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just the
Yeah.
algorithms. Like when you think about it, even Facebook, I heard it only goes to 2% of your audience. So everyone on
Yeah.
Facebook, they could keep posting, posting, posting nonstop and their content. And they're like, how come no one's responding? Well, it only
Yeah.
goes to 2% of your friends list. So
Yeah.
it's like doing all this work on social media for nothing. I feel because people aren't really seeing it, right? So
Should I drop a little gem about social media in terms of that? I
sure.
don't know if I should give this away for free, but
Hey, big,
no, I'm
big,
kidding.
bad show. How you doing? Good to see you as well from the Boogie Down
If
Bronx. Anyways, go ahead.
Boogie Down Bronx in the building, love it, love it.
Yeah.
Um, if I don't know exactly how it, well, it kind of works like this on Instagram too, and I'll tell you how I know. But
Hmm.
Facebook, so 2% of your following or whatever see your content. If there's people that you want to see your content, there's a way to go to their page on Facebook and make them a favorite.
Hmm. Really?
So what that means is that you're gonna see their content first,
Hmm.
and then when you engage with their content, they're gonna start to see your content.
So you have to put favorite for all of them? Like, say
Yeah.
if you have 2,000 people
Well,
on Facebook, I wonder if you
yeah.
have
I
to
mean,
do.
I don't know. I
I
don't know
thought it was
if
like
I
you
don't.
have to comment on their stuff, but if you stop commenting, because I only go on Facebook to post my stuff and then I leave
Yeah.
since I started Twitch.
Yeah.
But like
Right.
then I'm not looking at anyone's stuff barely on Facebook because
Yeah.
Twitch is enough work and Instagram.
Yeah.
So then I feel like I kind of disappeared on Facebook as well. I don't think
Yeah.
people are actually
That's what
seeing the
it is
content.
that you're not engaging with people because
Hmm.
all the platforms want the engagement, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you the reason that you make them favorite is just so you can see their content, but you can go directly to someone's page and comment on their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to start to see your stuff as you post because you're engaging, so the algorithm now thinks that you guys are friends.
But if you leave it for a while, it's like you're starting all over again.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, if you're not active on there, yeah.
it's a
That
lot.
it,
It's a
it's going to
social
drop
media
back
is like
down.
if people don't think it's a
Yeah, social
full-time
media is
job,
a job onto itself
it's a
for sure.
full-time job, and especially if you're doing what
Yeah,
you're doing, a talk show as well, you're doing flyers,
right,
you're doing interviews, you're coming up with
right.
questions. You're also
Yeah,
doing music, you're DJing, you have a family. Like it really
yeah,
is a beast. We need secretaries
yeah,
to manage our stuff.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, that's what DJ
Like
Lenny
Lenny Danger
Danger.
says, I need to hire a social media manager. That's why you see all those social media managers on TikTok. They give you all those little tips about. So, or I don't know if you see that. Maybe you're not in. That's not part of your algorithm, but I see it all the time on TikTok. Like
That's
people
because
give
you're
you.
looking it up. It's like social
Yeah.
media has become, if you've ever seen the movie Social Dilemma, literally
Uh
social
huh.
media has become, that was such an interesting film on
Right.
Netflix. It's like, it
Yeah.
literally has become that. So you're always going to keep getting reels based on the information that you're interested in looking up, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
if it's politics, especially with this pandemic, you're always going to
Yeah.
get, information that's based on your opinion. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like they really have created, I think, a beast. And if you guys haven't watched Social
Yeah.
Dilemma, I encourage you guys all to watch it. It's very interesting the way social media
Yeah.
has been. But Twitch has been great. I mean, it's been good. Just we would have never connected in others if it weren't for Twitch, right?
Absolutely.
All the amazing
Yeah.
people globally. It's a real, good positive community as well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so if you guys have any, I know we're way, way past, and you've been with me for a long time since 5:40 now. So I'm definitely going to wrap
Oh
it
yeah.
up.
5:40
But
East Coast
yeah,
time.
and I thank you for sticking around. I know we had some complications with StreamYards earlier on,
Yeah.
but I thank you for just sticking through. I really appreciate that too.
I did want to say to you, I don't know if I had said this. I love that Instagram thing, going live on Instagram.
Hmm.
And I had the idea of doing that just on the strength that when you go live with people on Instagram, you see both communities see that they're live,
Hmm.
so people can come in when you're having a conversation. And I thought of doing that just to do it. I was actually thinking more for my coaching Instagram, which is not as big as my DJing Instagram.
Hmm.
That I would go live and have conversations with people on there. But I thought it was great how, like, I know Lenny Danger was in there, Tape Deck Terrorist came
Yeah, Money
in,
Danger.
Rod
Yeah,
G came in. I actually
it was
even
dope.
Raimundo Trece came in, and it's like people saw it on Instagram and then came over here. I was like, what a great idea.
And we
It's
do different
yeah, so
equipment. Like I right now I'm doing a laptop. I have two laptops, a
right.
phone, looking at the chat and a webcam right in front of me. You guys can't see
Yeah,
any of this. But then
right.
Instagram, it was like my phone, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
so I had to switch all those connections. But it's
yeah,
interesting though to I don't know, I'm gonna keep trying Instagram and I
yeah.
was
It
also
was cool.
thinking to start a different coaching page because I want to I don't even know if I want to say coach for myself, but I want to definitely
Right.
get back to motivation and inspiration and just doing something more from the heart because I just
Yeah,
feel
love that.
like we need it right now because there's a lot going on and there's a lot of people in our on our chat in the Twitch shows that we do. There's a lot of people
Right.
struggling with a lot of things right now, you know? So
True.
I just feel like it's
Very true.
needed. So it's great that you're doing the coaching and would you suggest starting a new page? Because I was thinking, should I? It's kind of weird doing my DJ page, so I was going to just start all over again. But I was like, oh, this is going to start all over again to zero, you
You
know?
know what's funny is
I
because,
wasn't
like I said, we
sure.
have a newborn.
Hmm.
My content in terms of the coaching has suffered a little bit. I haven't put out a whole lot of content. I would say that because, like, my Instagram page, my coaching one, has like 240 followers. I have like no followers, but I have over 1,000 on TikTok
Hmm.
on my coaching page too. On my DJ and my coaching page, I have
Oh,
over a
wow.
thousand followers, and I haven't put a lot of content on TikTok in a while either. Um, but I would suggest do it on TikTok if you want a secondary, because I feel like Instagram and Facebook are slowly dying. Like, we don't
Oh, you
see it
think
now, but
so?
I think eventually,
Really?
yeah. Well, because they're following every trend.
They're
Like,
more older. They're
Instagram has
people
followed
from my,
Snapchat, they followed
yeah.
TikTok, they follow, like, there's always going to be a new thing. So I think those things eventually will die out
I like
or
TikTok.
not be as relevant.
Yeah, you should try coaching live on TikTok. You should try that.
That's interesting.
I feel like TikTok, because you have 1,000 people, right? So I think
Yeah,
TikTok is more, I feel like it's more, yeah, you can express yourself. Like it feels like it's more my personality, music,
yeah,
comedy,
right.
DJing and like inspiration. Like it feels like you can find different contents for different things and people appreciate it. But I think you should
Yeah.
really go live on TikTok. I think that would work for you if you have over 1,000 people. That's when you can go live, right?
I'll try it. Yeah, I mean, for the coaching, I don't know, because in terms of coaching, it's like, even in my interviews, I get in depth. Like, my coaching is way beyond that. Like, we're dealing with traumas and stuff like that. So I don't know that people would want to do that. Although maybe I can go live and give some resources to
Yeah,
people
like
or
give some
something. Yeah, it's
inspirational, like my field would kind
yeah,
of be in the area of like more grief and loss, because, based on
right,
my story. So I really want to
right.
help
Yeah,
people
yeah,
in that area. But like for you,
yeah,
you could just, there's so many coaches and inspirational speakers and different things that are just going live on TikTok just to encourage people, right? And you'd be
yeah.
surprised, like
Absolutely.
even if it's deep content, like people really need it. Like people are out there listening, you know? There was
Yeah.
one guy I listened to till like 4 in the morning yesterday. Like he just captured my
Really.
attention. And this guy gets on, oh, I don't know what it's called. Um, I don't know if it's Dago. I don't know. It's some app. Like it's for young people. And all these people that
Hmm.
are under 18 are on it. You're supposed to be 18, but
Oh,
there's a lot
really?
of young people. And he literally
Wow.
just goes on there and he's like, hey, can I, he's faith based. So he's like, hey, can I just pray for you? And of course, some people think he's crazy, but then
Yeah.
it's actually really beautiful. Like when I listen to
Hmm.
this guy, I'm just so captured by like what he's doing because when you see all these kids and you see their needs, and
Yeah.
you know, some are, you know, some joke around and some kind of hang up on him, but then there's others that are really like, oh man, this really helped me tonight, like I really needed it, you know. So
Yeah.
there's always an audience for, like, even though your content you feel maybe deep, and I have felt that, I'm like, what are people
Yeah.
going to perceive of me if I give this a shot, right? Because I'm in
Right.
the process too. I'm not perfect, right? But
Right.
I do
Right.
think that there's such a huge demand right now that you would be shocked the amount of people that need something, like they need your coaching or they need your words, right?
That's true.
So I
That's
hope you
true.
go for it. Like, let me know. I'm
Yeah.
excited to. I'll definitely check you out on TikTok too.
Yeah. No, you've
If you
inspired
go
me.
for it.
I'm gonna do something like within the next week. I'll go live at least once.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Try it
And you
out.
have a gift, like you really do, in terms of connecting and
Oh,
talking to
thank you.
people. Like people
I
feel
appreciate
that
that.
they could open up and I mean, heck, it was like when I was on his show, guys, it was like Oprah. He was like DJ Allier, aka Oprah, you know? He's like, how did that make you feel? So what was it like, Honey
Yeah.
Flo? And I'm just like giving him my whole life story, and it wasn't planning on
Yeah.
going that way, but it did. So I think you have that gift, that
Yeah.
you can
Thank
give
you.
people, that people would open up. And if you're interested, I could always send you this guy. But for me, I just thought he was like,
Send it to me. Yeah,
he was
I'd
incredibly
be interested
bold
in
and
seeing.
just different. And now he's like having a lot of followers, like a lot of people following him now,
Mm,
and now he's
interesting.
getting recognized, but he's doing what his purpose is, you know. And
Yeah.
it started off with him being a bit fearful and just like, I don't know if I should be doing this, people are going to think it's weird.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he just basically shares his story, like shares, you
Mm,
know, how he was very sick and things happened to him and that were tragic, and he talks about like what happened to him and his experience to
mm,
people, right? So it's up to them
right.
whether they want to accept it or not. But just all
Yeah.
these kids, you know, just seeing them maybe cursing him out in the beginning or getting mad, and then seeing them soften up and listen to him, and seeing some
Yeah.
kids cry, I'm just like, wow,
Wow.
that's unbelievable, you know? Like,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
amazing.
so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But let's see. Oh, is TikTok restricted copyright for DJs? Actually, there's a lot of DJs on there. They don't seem
Yeah.
to be.
It's not at all.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're restricted for copywriting. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
because the app's from China, is it? Right? And I heard there's a
Yeah. I
different
mean, it was
TikTok
developed
for
in China.
us,
I don't know.
and I heard it's very restricted for people in China. I heard that too.
Oh,
They
that's
have a
interesting.
totally different TikTok than we do, so
Hmm.
they're not seeing a lot of content like in North America
Oh.
or the things that we're doing. It's kind of interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah. So yeah, give it a try, you guys. But we will wrap up here as well. I was going to ask you if there's anyone you would like to go to as well tonight. I don't know if you could see.
Oh,
I
that's
don't want to get in
interesting. Yeah.
trouble
Let
by
me.
wifey too, because I've kept you for a good couple
No.
hours.
Yeah. Well.
I don't want her
Yeah. I don't.
pulling out
I
her hair with
assume
the
that she
kids.
went and picked up. Yeah. I assume she went to pick up my daughter, but I know she's gonna
Aw,
need help when she gets back.
exactly.
So.
So I'm gonna let you go to
Um.
cool music room
Yeah. Let
too. I
me
love your
see.
music room. It looks like a full out studio there. Your room,
Oh.
like,
Yeah. This is actually a
holy
green
cool.
screen, but
Oh, is it? No
yeah.
way. Are you
Yeah.
serious? Oh
Yeah. It
man,
is.
I gotta do that. It's better than my living room.
Yeah.
Actually, my living room is nice though, guys. See, it's my living room right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
oh wow, it
Yeah.
totally
No.
looks
I
like
wish
your
I had
own.
it looking like this,
Yeah, I
but
was like, your room looks like real professional. Man, I'm gonna swipe a green screen picture like that.
yeah.
But thanks to
Let me
everyone
see.
for joining. Make sure you guys stick around too. Stick around for the raid. You know, everyone in the building, add DJ Allier as well. Great DJ, talk show host, just great person in general. If you need his
Thank you so
coaching,
much.
business, like if you need, you know, the coaching, yeah, I got a few pillows here. I don't know. I got to make it kind of fancy for you guys. So I got a few pillows here. I'm like, how can I make it fancy for you guys? Yeah, he's like, I love the pillow. Yeah, so if you need his coaching services, make sure you guys definitely add him. He's very positive. He'll help you with your mindset
Yeah.
too and get it right. if you need some help with that, he's definitely the guy. Um,
Yeah, anyone, please reach out to me, even if you don't want a coach or anything. If you ever need someone to talk to, like, reach out to me. I can always help you with resources, even if they're worksheets to fill out or anything. However you're feeling. Big bad show. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Salute, bro. Um, I do. Did you want to go to music, or does it matter for you, Honey
no,
Flow?
it doesn't matter to me. Wherever you want to go, I'm good.
I was thinking, since we're on the talk show tip, maybe we could show some support for this streamer, Nasha22.
Okay, actually, I don't
Um,
even know if I have them on here. Let's see.
yeah, let me.
Nasha
I can
22.
put it in the chat, or if
Yeah,
you want
because
me to private message you
you
in
could put it in the chat. I
Instagram.
can't seem to, because sometimes the raids are going and sometimes they're not. They
Yeah.
don't go properly. Yeah, so definitely put it in the chat. Make sure you guys, I just put another shout out for DJ Allier. So again, just click his name, much easier. Hey, the
Yes. Thank you
Alaska
so much.
Wolfman as well. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And
I
they
want to
say
make sure.
Nasha is wonderful.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
a great cooking stream. She does cooking.
Yeah.
Oh,
So let me
cool.
put. This is her name. Do you want me to put the at there? I don't know if what
Okay,
works better
let's
for you.
see. Okay, so it's with I probably have to follow her too, I think. Because you can raid without, yeah, I'm gonna try to follow her right now. Sometimes
Yeah.
my when I look everyone up, it I can't seem to look them up. Ooh, she's cooking. What is she cooking here? Ooh, it looks like it's tacos as well. It looks
Mm.
pretty good, guys. Okay, yeah, so
Yeah.
she's busy cooking in the kitchen, so we'll definitely raid into her. I'm gonna set up the raid.
Yes.
If you want to do a few shout outs, you can as well. Hey, Tilt, I see you coming through.
Yeah, but let me see who we still got in here because I know the raid's gonna go here.
Yeah, and while you're setting it up,
Um,
I'll set this up.
Big shout out to DJ Critical, DJ Eaton, Lenny Danger. Thank you for sticking around. DJ Lockdown, DT Jams Live. Of course, my wife's out of 28. She looks like she's lurking there.
Hmm.
Everyone who's been in here, really appreciate you all, and I do appreciate you, Honey Flow, because honestly, I've had guests on my show, other ones who have talk shows. One other person wanted to have me on. They gave me a date in June,
Hmm.
and it didn't work out for me. And it's like, oh, let's get another date. We were like, oh, maybe in July. And to this day, we still haven't figured out the date.
Oh no.
Um, and another gentleman also has a talk show and was like, yeah, we'll get you on, but we never really talked about it. And so I know you and I talked about the idea, and you actually reached out to me on Instagram. Let's lock in this date and all that, and you put forth the effort. So I really appreciate it because this is the first time I've actually been a guest for a whole show on someone's show, and
Oh, really?
I really appreciate. Yeah, so I appreciate you
Wow.
giving me the platform, and um, maybe it'll be the first of many, but I
Exactly.
appreciate it, and
And I
I
can
really
talk to
loved
you
our
probably for
conversation.
hours about positive different things too. We definitely have the same
Absolutely,
vibe, with that. But
absolutely,
I'm
yeah,
excited to see, and I hope you really go full force into what you feel that you're called to do, because doors will open, and sometimes they don't always open the way we want them to. Like we may be trying
yes,
Twitch or be trying, but I'm a firm believer
right,
that doors open where no man can shut. So sometimes you have to go different places, right?
absolutely,
I think TikTok
yeah,
will be good for you. Like I'm excited to see what will happen there. Yeah.
yeah. I've been
So
thinking about TikTok from the DJ standpoint, like streaming, DJing on there. But yeah, I'm gonna try it with my other account and see how that works. Going
mhm.
live on TikTok, that should be cool.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got some heavy hitters, guys, on his talk show. So make sure you guys add him. He's got a lot of, great streamers that are on there. And I like the fact that you
Yeah,
also include a lot of women. Like I've noticed that about you. You're probably the only talk show
yeah.
I've seen that includes probably purposely looks for more women that I've seen. I was like, wow, he's got a
Hmm.
lot of women that
You think so?
like you interview a lot of guys too, but I like that you're
Right.
also showcasing a lot of women in this industry too,
Yeah.
and you do. And he's
Yeah.
got some heavy
Yeah.
hitters in there, guys, so you definitely got to check him out too. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
for sure.
definitely. I think the women are getting on Twitch, and it was my ignorance because I rocked with some women
Mhm.
when I did clubs and stuff like that. But not that many. Like most of the DJs were guys that I rocked with or played at clubs with. And coming onto Twitch, I just realized there's so many dope women DJs.
Mhm.
um, it made me realize that, and I just love the way that women. I feel like there's a different sensibility playing music that women have that men don't have. And
Hmm.
so a lot of my favorite streamers are women on this platform. So um,
Mhm.
over the past year, I have focused more on interviewing streamers. I used to interview other professionals and stuff, but no one would come. People only wanted to see people they knew from Twitch. So yeah, I started doing a lot more streamers, and yeah, I mean, I'm surprised to hear because I've heard that comment before that I interview a lot of women. I'm surprised
Mhm.
to hear that you feel like I'm the only show that does that. I'm like, oh, I wonder why, because so many dope women on this platform, especially in the DJ community.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there have been other shows that do too, but I feel like you do it. It's very, very noticeable that you do it. I see a lot more
Right.
when I'm going through your interviews
Yeah.
compared to others. But it is good that more women are jumping on tons of raid trains and, and getting
Absolutely.
included or invited as well and starting their own.
Right.
And speaking of that, we're doing an RN Bay raid
Yes.
train tomorrow as well, and it's going to be all female raid train.
Yeah.
The poster is on, or the flyers on my Instagram, so you guys could check it. And
Yeah.
it's going to be a full lineup from 10 a.m. all the way up to I think 10 p.m. of female DJs and all R&B. That's female
Yeah.
artists. So yeah, come check it out, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to
Absolutely.
set up this raid and make sure you guys are adding one another. DJ Harvey Harris, I see you. Tilt. And thank you, DJ Critical, again. I keep wanting to call you Crickets, but thank you for rating into me. I'm going to definitely check you.
Yes,
Um,
critical. Thank
so
you
if
so
we
much.
miss it, if we miss the raid, just go to Nasha Guys 22. It's in the chat. I'm going to try re-rating a few times because do you automatically let the raid go or do you press it right away as
I do it
well?
multiple times. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
I have
that
to do
issue
it
a
multiple
lot. And
times. Yeah.
sometimes I'll raid and it's like five people left over, and I raid again and it's three, and I don't know why that happens.
But you don't press, okay, she's cooking shrimp tacos, guys. So
Nice.
yeah, that'll be pretty dope. I haven't seen her yet actually. But you don't
Yeah.
do you let the raid go automatically or do you press raid now? I was told to let it go automatically.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's interesting. Usually I let it go automatically just because I'm still talking.
Oh, okay, no
But I
problem.
have in
Yeah.
the past pressed raid now, but usually, yeah, I do let it go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because sometimes it goes a
Yeah.
bit slower. Where is she from too, Nasha 22? Do you know?
Alaska Wolfman was saying in Phoenix. Is that who said it?
Oh.
I didn't know she was from Phoenix. I thought she was from
Oh,
California,
she's
actually.
from Phoenix. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Dope. I love
Yeah.
Phoenix. It's really nice. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So I think
Absolutely.
it's
And I did
almost
want to shout out because I saw Lenny Danger said he thought he was following. Thank you for the follow, Lenny Danger, um, Harvey Harris, Big Bad Show, and DJ Elegance. Thank you all for following. Hope to see you soon. I will be back on tomorrow, actually. I do every Thursday. I play 90s at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully you guys can come check me out tomorrow.
okay. Awesome. Yeah. And feel free to follow. Make sure you guys add DJ Allier. Feel free to follow me as well, too, on your way out. And I'm going to try this. Okay. This is the second time. And I think it did go through. And we're going to try
Okay.
it one more. Yeah, and thank you so much for staying. I know it was
Yeah.
a
No,
lot
this
tonight,
was awesome.
but we
Thank you.
covered a lot too. So I'll have to have you back on
Right.
again. Maybe we'll do
Yeah, I'd love to be.
like a topic that is meaningful that can help some people out there too. Between the two
That
of
would
us,
be
I think
great.
it'd be pretty dope. Yeah. Okay, so then
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
third one. Yeah. So,
Okay,
oh,
cool.
okay, we'll have a great night. And I hope, yeah, we'll definitely see each other soon in these Twitch streets too, as well.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. And like I said, I'm doing a lot of like roundtable stuff too, so maybe I can have you on one of the panels
Oh,
one
yeah,
of
I'm
these days as
definitely,
well.
definitely
Because
down for that.
I'm thinking about bringing people back who I've done one-on-one interviews with, but I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's so much new to talk about because I usually talk about people's life. So
Yeah.
I'm inviting people back in that capacity where we're talking about stuff in a roundtable fashion. So I'd love to have you back.
Okay, yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm definitely down
So
for
yeah,
that.
we'll definitely talk.
All right.
All
Okay,
right.
take care.
You have a good night.
Elliot, you
I'll see you.
too. Have a good night. Take
Okay.
care.
Bye.
Bye.